It is
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
I can't believe I got all the presents I wanted.
Yeah, what'd you get?
I got a rock. Isn't that from that's from the Halloween show, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't know what I got. I mean, I do know what I got, and boy, my arm's tired.
All right. Okay, we did this.
Okay, we did this earlier.
Right. So today, as a special for Christmas, as initially I thought, hey, let's take a week off. We'll just do a best of show.
No, don't sell it that way. Sell it like you wanted to plan it for a while.
I can't, and then it ended up taking me 2.5 days.
Yeah, and you were upset about it. That's all I know.
I'm not
about
that happy about it.
I mean, it did not bother me at
all.
all.
I'm happy with the results.
Oh.
So today is our special best of show in air quotes. In air quotes, always.
Oh, yeah. We're not seriously claiming to be good.
No. We got a lot of requests for different things. We got I got some help from Alex. I got some help from our friend Perush.
Beautiful.
I got a little last minute help today from Emilio Fox on a couple of polls.
Oh, I saw you back and forth with people today.
So thanks to all those people helping me go through this 40 hours of shit that we've
it was hard. And it was very hard on me, folks. I got to tell you, I have worked hard this year on this show.
Yes, you're a real asset. So we're gonna go through some of the stuff from this past 7 months of stuff.
I can't remember one thing on the show, so
this is perfect for you.
That's
then.
perfect.
This is the perfect primer.
I don't have to know what I was talking.
Nice primer for you.
It'll teach me about the show.
Exactly.
I don't have to even say I don't know what I was talking about. It's all done.
Exactly.
I don't even have to be funny with his intros as if I was claiming.
So good. Because the show, unfortunately, is just two Jews talking, these packages of stuff we're going from two Jews talking to two Jews talking. So let's make our own, I don't have time to put in real transitions like a radio show. What is this, a radio show? So this first package, since it's the opening of the show, this is some of our show openings. Show openings.
We're on?
I think we're on.
Oh, this is exciting. This is our first. Is this a telecast?
It's not a telecast.
Because telly
means
means
anything but a telecast.
Telly means TV, right?
Yes.
All right. So are you going to be that? Are you going to be the guy who knows everything guy?
I'm not going to be the guy who answers direct questions.
No, but I would love it if, like, what's the difference between a radio wave and an isotoner glove?
One, it requires a third thing to be funny.
Right,
the
because
other
so much of my comedy, Josh, you'll notice, the funny's over. I'm thinking the next line will say, the joke's over with isotoner and the other thing. Joke's over.
My theory, and I'm sure I'll repeat it throughout our series, is that the secret to Andy Kindler comedy is you either keep talking until it's funny, or you keep talking until it's funny that you're still talking.
Are we on? Because you don't give me any cues. You're supposed to wear a lot of hats here. Literally a lot of hats.
So far, both shows have started with, are we on? The following podcast is brought to you by anxiety and desperation.
Also brought to you by the Jews. The Jews. Annoying people for thousands of years.
Why would you say that?
The Jews. The following podcast is audio.
Wow. You had that in the chamber? That was your big...
No, I didn't have it in the chamber.
You literally was like, I got one. And then...
Did I actually say I've got one?
Yeah.
That's the mislead.
Yeah. The following is brought to you with limited commercial potential.
Let's admit it, folks. If this wasn't... Well, I don't know why I'm calling you folks, but if it wasn't free, you wouldn't be listening to it. But I still will not bring up the paywall.
Okay, good. Don't bring up the paywall.
Here's the way the paywall would work.
No.
Okay? You get 15 seconds of the show.
Yeah.
Then you would get a high-pitched squeal in your ear.
Right. Okay.
For like 10 seconds. Like, you know how the emergency broadcasting comes on?
How is a high-pitched squeal that much different from you talking?
Can you get a level?
Oh, I can get a level.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Can I get a witness?
That depends on your drawing power.
Right. Now, I could go 8 ways to open the show without you doing anything. It was all me. This is my new personality, by the way.
Yeah.
My ego is bloated. I've been hearing good buzz about the podcast around town. And now I'm just going to be like, instead of being vulnerable, I'm just going to say, let's do this. Bravado.
That's good.
The bravado hour.
People have been asking for more insufferability.
Hey, let me tell you people something. If you don't think I can go from 0 to insufferable,
and you have not heard Thought Spiral, people.
You weren't there on my wedding night. How's my levels?
Your levels are, piercing, but...
Welcome to Thought Spiral. I'm Andy Kindler, your host, and my co-host tonight is Josh Elvis Weinstein. How's it going, Josh?
It's going swell, Andy. Thanks for asking.
65 degrees in Los Angeles. Wee.
Is that as loud as you're going to get?
I think I won't get louder than that.
Okay, good. That's just for me. That's not for levels. That's just for my own edification.
Guess what they said today when I went to the liars at the doctor's office said today? The liars, those liars.
Yeah, what did they say?
Where they try and pull off of me. 5'4.5" is what they tried to pull on me.
Is that really?
Yeah, it's really true. Oh and I argued. I tried to tiptoe it.
Right.
She said, okay, 5'5". That was the last thing nice. Before she hesitantly thinking that her license might be taken away.
Right.
5'4.5". I didn't see that coming. Why is it so funny? It's so funny to the tall people.
I don't think of you as tiny like that. You take up a lot of space. So.
I know. I think my not the ego, but something. I have a blustery quality. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Don't you love it? Why do I have to make why can't the testing process be more enjoyable?
It's really all about the user, I think, in this case. So you don't have to actually say testing. I can glean what I need to know from different words.
No, but why do they say check? Why do they say that? Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Why do they say that? Because they don't know about sound and they're trying to act like it matters, or because they know about sound and the could be something that's problematic.
I think they want to get the full range, my friend.
Why don't they say something like every good boy does fine?
Because they're cooler than that.
Do you know what every good boy does fine is?
It's a typing exercise. No, it's the lines. It's the treble clef.
Phone a friend. Yes, it's a treble clef. And when you see me around, you know there's going to be treble. You laughed sincerely at that.
No, I didn't.
You did because
I didn't.
You did because it was quick. You couldn't believe how quick it was. Yeah. It's going to be treble tonight. I had to quit my chamber music group that I was in.
Yeah?
Too much treble.
Huh?
It hasn't been on?
There we go.
Oh my God, that was such gold. I was pre-show doing my classic radio play. Mr. Weinstein, your client is here. It's 3:00.
Send him in.
Come in. What?
Wait,
I'm knocking.
You took my part. Come in.
Hello, Mr. Weinstein?
Yes. Who are you?
Mr. Weinstein, you are a Jew. Am I correct?
I'm a what?
Jew. Mr. Weinstein.
I've seen this play before, and it doesn't end well.
Do people what do people prefer when you do online polls? Do they prefer a definite beginning, like, welcome to Thought Spiral with your host, Andy Kindler, and Josh Elvis Weinstein. Tonight on the show, Andy will complain. Josh will also complain. Andy will complain some more. Josh will act superior, like he's not screwed up as Andy. Andy will get angry at Josh. Why isn't he angry? Like, what, does he think he's better than him? And then they will forget what they're talking about. Then Andy will say, I forgot what I was talking about, making it worse. And then an hour and a half later, somehow you have gold.
Okay, let's do a sound check. I think we need to start now.
Oh.
And we're back. So the couple of
Super Tuesday.
A couple of things that have happened over the course of the show. There's been a couple of story arcs, I think.
Yeah.
One of them was Montreal. Every year, Andy does his State of the Industry address at Montreal. And we were fortunate enough to be starting the show basically around the time when Andy was starting to prep.
It's a lot of pressure.
So there was a whole saga that unfolded over several shows. So I've compiled all of the Montreal story into one supercut.
Supercut, 2 for Tuesday, back-to-back classics. Josh is writing my speech for Montreal this year, which I'm very happy about.
That's good. As long as you don't go This is what you did last year. I didn't know I was writing a joke for your thing.
I credited you immediately after?
Immediately after
what
it didn't
was the joke,
work.
do you remember?
Immediately after it didn't work, you credited me.
Well, yeah. That's what we call in the business throwing someone under the bus.
Yes, it was. I did not volunteer for that bus ride, however.
I'll give you other examples.
It was the Antichrist turning water into wine.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I'm going to write it down. I love it so much.
How's it going with your prep for Montreal? Are you freaking out?
No, the reason why I'm not freaking out is that this is the first year that I'm on medication and have therapy. So all the other years of my life.
In previous years, you'd be sequestered almost for a month.
Yeah, but not realizing that OCD, and I'm not saying, look, maybe I do get a little money back. I get a little taste every time someone buys a generic antidepressant, which is, I'm not sure why. But
you just want to wet your beak.
I just want to. What Daddy needs a new pair of beaks.
Wow.
I'm sorry, my energy is off, but I'm going to bring it. You wait till the close. This is going to be the best last 15 minutes.
You can tell Andy's energy is off because I've talked a lot this hour.
No, that's not what the problem is. The problem is this. I see our show like we're surfers, and neither one of us can surf. I think
right.
is the main problem.
We're body surfers.
So I. Not having realized that I had an illness, which was OCD, I just would tough it out. Now, when I say illness, I don't want people to write letters like they're going to write anyway.
Right.
They don't want me to use the illness model. I'm using the illness model because it is an actual model, because you can look at OCD as a disorder or an illness. But I'm not excusing all of the wrongs that I've done. And when I say wrongs, I mean not returning phone calls.
Right. And the problem with the OCD model, by the way, is you have to line up every single piece.
Yeah.
In exact order.
And I don't never put the inside of the model together, like I did with the USS Enterprise. So I didn't realize how much I was struggling and also spinning out of control, mainly because of social networking.
Yeah.
So I would be that.
Just the time suck of it?
Well, because not to depress everybody again, but my dad died, and don't stop hawking. Don't send me gifts, people. And I stopped doing Taekwondo, which I'd done for my whole life. It's a whole long story, but I had all of a sudden the whole day was free.
Right.
I didn't have my dad. Well, my dad lived on the other coast, and so I spun more and more and more and more out of control, which was not being able to do anything, which I didn't understand why I couldn't do something. I would just yell at myself all day.
Right.
So I would write the speech every year, but it would be a lot of chazrai and pain. I'm still in pain, but not as much pain.
Right.
So I'm thinking everything is. The main thing is I should put a lot of pressure on myself now to say this better be the year. Then, if you can't do it well now with the medication and therapy, maybe I'm not good enough.
That's, I think, good. At least you changed the conversation.
Well, I actually was talking to my therapist today about that since I'm now, it'll be the first year that I'm both medicated and therapized.
For the speech.
For the speech.
Okay.
So it's gotten increasingly harder every year because of my panicky, neurotic behavior and my ability to put things off to the last minute. And I told my therapist that you said that most writers. See, my image was that all writers get up in the morning at 4 a.m. They go to the gym.
Yeah.
First of all, anybody who goes up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. goes to the gym, what are they going to write that you're going to be interested in?
Nothing funny. There's nothing
funny.
There's nothing funny coming out of that person.
Why do you want to go to a gym at 5? Why don't you just kill yourself? But I was asking my therapist about, like, how do I... you said you wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
No, not the wait till the last minute, but I thought I was the only one who waited. I just thought I've always had a negative view of myself, which is one of my core problems that I'm dealing. Why are you saying that? I have a feeling you're pranking me with this. Are you?
I think that's your core problem is you don't like yourself all that much, and I think.
And why does that make you laugh, Josh?
Because it hurts to cry.
Does it hurt to cry?
It hurts so bad to cry.
Yes, I don't like but the thing is, I'm upbeat about it, though.
Absolutely.
I wake up in the morning, I'm in a good mood. I'm ready to hate myself.
And I also think that self-loathing also not uncommon among creative types.
No. But if you said to me, I bet you don't want to lose the self-loathing because of all the material, I would say that's where you're wrong.
No, I feel like you're ready to shed the self-loathing.
Right. So I would always beat myself up every year, and last year was like the culmination of I was all out of joint.
Right.
So this year, my image of the way you should do it is the day after the previous speech, you take out a new sheet of onion skin typing paper, and you write the date down, which I have done. That's one of my big advances. I know when the dates are, that it was before or after the speech.
Okay.
And that you would be do a little work on 1 month, and then you just gear up, and then 9 months in, and now you put the finishing touches. But as always, I'm scrambling.
Right, of course.
And I don't want it to cut into my wasting time on Twitter time.
It's a delicate balance.
Well, I think I may have made a breakthrough with Twitter. With my therapist, who next week will be on the show. No, my therapist will never be on the show. It's not like she's Larry H. Barker. Do you have emotional problems? I'll fight for you. I can't tell if you're fake laughing at me now.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't that really matter? As long as you can make it sound a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
So my main problem is, as soon as things, like I know it's 7 days to the speech, I know I have a lot to write.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is not what I do in previous years. With previous years, I keep going over notes and notes and notes and keep making drafts and drafts of drafts.
Right.
And then when I try to condense it at the last moment, it's too much. I don't even know where I am.
Right.
So now I want to be a little bit more as if I'm writing the speech, which you're going to do, is what I've heard.
I'm here to help.
I know. I can't even provide you with
I keep asking
the
you,
outline.
Send me your topics, and
The
I'll
outline.
shoot you more jokes. And I'll do it tomorrow. I'll send it to you tomorrow.
All right, well.
Like I'm going to pressure you to send me stuff to do jokes for you.
I have your jokes here. I'm not going to go over them, though.
Let's not.
What?
Let's not go over the jokes.
Okay, here's some things I could say. Tell me if you think this is funny.
Okay.
The show Polandia never took off. Did I try that already?
No.
The show Polandia never took off. It's half a joke, right?
Yeah, it's half a joke.
But is it a half a joke where you want to go further into it, or it couldn't be a joke?
No, I think it could be a joke. It could be like, my favorite character, the pierogi shop owner.
There you go. There you go. The pierogi shop. See, that's the difference between me and you, is you have words.
The cabbage vendor.
The cabbage vendor. All right. I'm going to talk about this year about Kathy Griffin and the
disembodied head.
The disembodied head. I never actually saw what she did. I mean, because I don't want to be shocked.
No.
But I just love the way there's no you get no you build up no good will. Yeah, AC 360. I know that's not his real name.
Right.
AC Anderson. What's his name?
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper.
Right.
He's like couldn't wait to put out a mean tweet about it.
Yeah, he was not. He was not a savior from the bus.
I do not know why she did this. It's a terrible thing that she did this. No, he didn't say I don't know why she did it, but he did condemn.
He did
completely.
Quickly, yeah.
And so, of course, we're all happy that New Year's Eve thing isn't going to happen, because that is just it makes you actually say, "I wonder what Ryan Seacrest is doing."
Maybe this year they could have the giant bloody head drop. On New Year's Eve.
Now, see, if I do a joke like that, will I then be arrested?
Not in Canada. He might not be able to get back, but whatever.
What was the joke I just did? I wrote it down.
Polandia?
No, it was about AC 360. I wonder. Oh, we're missing him on New Year's Eve, and it makes you wonder. I wonder what Brian Seacrest is doing now.
Right. Okay, we're writing for the podcast is what we're doing now.
Josh, let me tell you something. I would say 100, 200, maybe 300 times on my stand-up career, taken a card out of my pocket when something funny happens on stage.
Written it down.
Write it down while I'm bantering. No, it's not funny banter I'm doing.
Right, no.
I don't pretend that I can both write a note and run a funny bit, but it keeps them
No, it's nice for the audience to go, really? He's saving that?
Oh, yeah. You're not in the audience.
No, I've been in the audience.
So, CNN, I don't know. I don't know why you're telling me. You call me up every day. You got to turn it on. It's really great. But I don't see it.
Really? You need to spend 8 more hours with it each day.
Okay, so that's good. I got Kathy Griffin. I got to do, I had this line. Let Hitler be Hitler was never something Hitler needed to hear. But that's not going to be for my show business speech.
Yeah.
My show business speech, I don't know. I shouldn't do it during this show. Right? This isn't the time to do it. But I'm always working on the Ricky Gervais stuff because my theory now is that Ricky Gervais is exactly like Donald Trump. That's my theory.
Yeah.
And that Donald Trump is Ricky Gervais's fault. Okay? It's not. I'm not saying it's a good theory.
Okay.
But it's a theory that
I would like to hear more pieces of it.
Well, didn't you love the old comic? What's that?
I'd like to hear more pieces before I condemn it.
Well, that's unusual. Usually you're in there before I start.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is science.
Well, he did the asshole character on the Office, the original Office, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Still one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my life. Right up there with Larry Sanders, although they didn't do as many.
Yeah.
He was the asshole in that show. He was a jerk.
Right.
And we kind of liked that he was a jerk, but we didn't realize that he was not doing a character. That is him. He is David Brent.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm going to stop you here. How many Trump voters do you think were watching the British Office?
None.
Okay, right.
None. That's true. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. Wouldn't it be great if people really would? Oh, buckle down?
Let's buckle down.
Okay.
Because I want to hear about Montreal.
Okay, let's talk.
We've been not talking about it on purpose, so we could talk about it.
All right, this is unbelievable. The whole I sound like Trump now. Unbelievable. It's never been done. Can't be believing.
It's the best state of the industry speech that's ever been given. I heard from the Boy Scouts.
I'll tell you that. He always says that. I'll tell you that much. Okay, well, this last year, I'd say everything we do pre-OCD treatment, post-OCD treatment.
Okay.
So last year I was in the throes of not knowing that I had OCD, not realizing I was obsessing more and more and more and more and more, and I did not like the way the speech went. I couldn't even I don't even remember. The whole experience was weird.
Yeah.
So now this year I made a mistake, and the mistake was saying to myself, "Oh, you're cured now. This is boy, aren't you going to love your new speech having cured all your problems?"
Right.
Turns out that didn't happen.
No.
And now here's the thing. You and I are very close spiritually, and I also think we were meant to be placed on this earth to work out stuff. I don't really believe this, so don't write anything about it. But you like to write, you love to write like jokes.
Yeah.
When you're in the mood, and it seems like you're in the mood more than I am. They had 12 best jokes, burns, from the thing. 7 of them were yours. 7 of them were yours.
In the article?
In that article from, maybe it was the comic, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah. So you had said to me, Andy.
So 7 out of 12.
7 out of 12 of this one. I just said 7 out of 12. What are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to let it just like.
You want to sink in?
I'm trying to bathe in it a little bit.
You had said to me beforehand, if you want whatever you want help with. I mean, first you tried to say $10 an hour, but then no, you said, I'd like to, if you need any help, I would go over stuff with you. And you said, like, send stuff over. So that immediately got me.
That flummoxed you, yeah. Because then suddenly it was an assignment in your head.
Yes.
As opposed to an offer.
Right. And so I would try to, all day long as I was working on stuff, I'd be saying, I have to get it ship shape enough tonight to send it over to Josh.
All right.
So I wasted hours doing that. And, of course, I built you up as an ogre in a way.
Right.
Not an ogre, but an taskmaster.
Ogre who was giving you baskets of free jokes, that kind of ogre?
Yeah, I know, but it was like, if the price is me having to do something, that's a little high.
All right.
This is the first year I ever had anybody.
So I'm trying to get the message here. So was it bad that I helped?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It was bad for me emotionally when we first went into it.
Right.
And then I got to the other side of it. Because my thing is, I've never had anybody work on this. People have you've pitched things in other years and stuff like that. You've had jokes, and not pitch them. Stop saying pitch them. We don't get together in a gym and raise our hands. I've had people over the years listen back to my sets and try to extract the information from there, but I've never had anybody that I was showing the speech to before I did it. So when we met at, how do we name the places we met? We don't want to tell. How much?
Our local diner.
Yeah, but how close do you want people to know about where we live?
I think we've already set the.
We're in the valley.
The flagpole at Jimmy O's 5'8" and under men's store.
Oh, okay. Well, they know that already. Okay, so that they can easily locate. Right. Well, very near there is a popular diner that is, I guess, from the 50s.
Huh.
And I guess the people, what's the gimmick there? They're from the 50s?
The gimmick is, no.
Okay.
The only thing 50s really is the little mini jukeboxes.
Okay, I'm going to tell it from my point of view, and then you feel free to interject. And I would love to find out what you were thinking of all this while I was thinking it.
Right.
So we get down there, we start eating. Uh-huh. We order a meal. And did I pick up the check?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I started small talk. And then at one point, I remember you...
Did I actually?
Yes, you went. Okay, let's do this now.
Okay.
And then my heart, I started to get scared.
Yeah, you froze up. You locked up.
I locked up, and then I could not remember. No, what I should have done was I should have had some notes and things and topics at that meeting.
Right.
I didn't. I had something. I thought I had things, but I didn't. And then I get into this thing where I lock up. I can't remember who am I going to make fun of. I guess it's Jay Leno again.
Right.
And then when we were trying to work on things, I felt pressure to come up with something funny in front of you, which I'm not good at, only because I make myself not good at it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you're funny, or this whole thing would never have happened.
Right, but I don't believe. See, I'm not trying to make this. I did get an email today about someone who has. I made a direct message from someone whose wife has OCD.
Yeah.
And thanked me for talking about it. And that does. I mean, it really does make me feel good if anything that we talk about help somebody else. But mostly I'd like to hurt people with this podcast.
Yeah, if only we can really cause more pain in the world, then,
Right.
Why quit ever?
So you told me, okay, so here's how I saw it.
Okay.
I had nothing. And when I started to tell you a couple of things, what my ideas were, I think because they came out so poorly, you kind of said, well, those aren't even really jokes, really. It was like one of them was about George Lopez, maybe, or well, I don't remember. I want to do a whole thing about people can't have too many shows.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of explaining it, and it didn't sound funny.
Right.
But then it made me feel like I've got nothing. What were you thinking during that?
I was thinking, wow, Andy is not used to this kind of joke writing, so I'll just, I'll eat my eggs, and we'll throw out stuff, and we did. We got a few things out.
Now let me ask you this:
at that lunch, we actually got, and then we came back here to the house, and we got more stuff written.
Right, but let me ask you a question on an emotional level, because this is what, and if you feel these things. You can tell me because I have to take this from people.
Yeah.
Did that make you angry? Did you think less of me a little bit because of it? Or did you feel used a little bit?
No, because it was all, I volunteered for this. This wasn't like you came to me begging for my help. I just kind of offered it, and then I could tell, like when I said, hey, yeah, send me over topics. I'll write some jokes for you. I could tell that was like freezing you up. I could tell that, you're just, that the obligation of it froze you up. So I was like, okay, let's get together. Then you don't have to send me anything.
So the lesson for this is the lesson I'm learning. I don't want to be obnoxious about it, like one of those people who's always in therapy, but on some level, I hate myself, and on some level, I believe I'm a fuck up. I don't hate myself intensely. It's less now.
Sure.
But I said to myself, there's no excuse for you not having come to this meeting prepared. He's offering you help. And what I normally would do in life before I got help was I would somehow project that on the other person somehow. Like not want to hear that from the other person and then withdraw as a human being in general. Now I'm saying this came up with me with Josh. I don't know what he was thinking, but I know what it touched off in me, and it's good for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this case, I know you pretty damn well. So, so I was, I was figuring things out as a friend, like, oh, I can see what's happening here, and I approach joke writing different than you.
Yes.
It was my, I haven't just been writing for myself all these years. I've written for a lot of people, and so it's a muscle that's worked, so it isn't an emotional thing to sit down and write jokes for me. I could tell in this case, because this is like Andy Kindler Black Sunday, this speech, or Black Friday, rather, that, there's a whole bunch of shit on top of it. So I was honest to God, just trying to be supportive in any way I could, but I knew that, it wasn't going to be a simple process.
Right.
Because I know that there's some, I saw you last year when you were a month out from the speech, and I know that it's, it's a tough month for you, and you actually did way fucking better this year.
Oh.
In terms of your, like, freaking out, and in terms of, like,
but not that you saw.
Well,
I will tell you about the day of.
Well, day of,
not yet,
but
I will tell you, because the day of was an epic freak out.
Yeah.
Where my wife was actually, didn't say she was worried about me.
Right, but she
was worried.
Got all nice to you, did she?
It was terrible, but I'll hold that off. Now here's the thing.
All right, so we get through that lunch. Did you get something out of that day? It seemed like you got some.
Okay, now here's the thing, and I also think people, if you're a writer or want to be a writer, this is a good thing that you taught me from that day that I did not think about before. You said, although I was ultimately failed at this, you said write it like a speech, and I have done that over the years, going on a little bit. But then I go off onto these things where then you read it later and it sounds like you're at Toastmasters General or something.
Yeah.
So you said, write it like a speech. Now I
just said write the first 5 minutes, so you'll have that, knowing that you have that solid coming out of the gate as a base. That was my suggestion.
And it was an excellent suggestion, although I had trouble doing it.
Right.
But Then the other suggestion that you had, which I said, what I normally do is I listen back to all these sets. And to see what's on them. And you said that's not a good use of my time. And you were right about that.
Good.
I did listen to a couple of targeted things because I wanted to find out some wording on things.
Right.
But in general, I don't think it would hurt me to listen to my sets more during the year because I think it'd be good. But to try to cram them at the end.
Yeah, no, that's just a wormhole you can go down.
Yeah. And so I took it, the negative things I took from it also was because it was getting near the speech, and I actually thought, maybe Josh no longer thinks, I'm telling you, I have these thoughts.
Wow.
Maybe he doesn't think I'm that funny because, like it's all attitude with me. I don't have any, and I started to buy my own negative press. So those things, but not that they stayed with me. That's why I think I'm getting better. They didn't stay with me, but
right.
I thought about that. I thought you must be judging that I don't write a lot of jokes.
No, I wasn't judging. I knew who I was working with.
Right.
Going in.
Right.
So no, you're not funny. But no one makes me laugh more. So it's a weird dichotomy.
That's the thing. We make each other howl, which I think is a very spiritual thing. And I love to be able to get to that point where I'm not self-conscious and I'm just jamming. I just think it takes experience doing that, working with someone else.
It totally does, especially when it's your act. The one person I can't write for? Me.
Oh, okay.
For something to be worthwhile for me talking about in my own act, it's some fucking code I can't.
In other words, so that you actually it becomes a thing. Like it would be not an OCD thing, but it becomes like you don't want to do it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel.
You're emotionally invested in yourself. Maybe.
Yeah, it's just, that's the thing. I can write jokes I can write them in your voice. I can write them in anyone else's voice. When it comes to my own voice, it's like it's for some reason there's way more filters happening. It's not that I can't write for myself. It's just that choosing things to talk about,
right,
is hard.
It's interesting though, because you come up with a joke, like you came up with jokes that were like, I wish I could come up with jokes like that. They were hilarious jokes.
7 out of 12, baby.
Did I do the thing about I hope my rage is less random this year?
I think you did. It was a little scattered at the top.
Yeah. But now, do you like it when other people give you suggestions for your bits, or they don't tend to give you suggestions?
People tend to not.
Why is that?
Well, partially because I don't do, because no one sees my act.
Right, you're not, yeah.
I think things have changed, and I'm trying to change them by trying to do more stand-up. So if anyone's listening and has a set open, give me a call. Okay.
Okay, so I got back to my house.
And this is after you were here?
Right.
Okay.
Then I go up to Montreal on the Monday. Now, the other thing that was tremendously helpful, that I don't know if you remember saying, it was tremendously helpful, was that you said, and have you said this on the podcast, that most writers do wait to the last minute. They're not like Johnny on the spot with their stuff.
Yeah. It's not worth thinking you're a terrible person because you're waiting to the last minute. It's so terrible. It's not time well spent.
And the thing about it is, like, I wish I could explain to you how pervasive this voice is inside me. Forget about even the topic. It's like this Christian work ethic guy, or a guy who's like, this is the guy saying this to me in my head. Yeah. Even if you started today trying to write a book or something, it's already too late, right? So when you said that to me, that comforted me, because for some reason I had actually believed this thing of I should be, writing it for months.
Right.
And so I let that go. The only thing that saved me from spinning out of control even more was just saying, I mean, it sounds silly, but just saying, you're not a bad person. You're not a bad person. You're not a terrible person. You're not a terrible person. And because
fake it till you make it, huh?
Don't sweat the small stuff. But you know why? Because it was like, I would just get on Twitter.
Right.
I would do all the horrible things I do.
And I was kind of...
You saw it, right?
I was watching from afar going, wow, he really doesn't want to write. He really doesn't want to write.
I went through such a psychic terror about... So normally I would always tell myself that I would write a draft before I got to Montreal.
Right.
And many times in the years before, I would have some kind of draft. That doesn't mean it was any better.
Right, sure.
So this way I got up there with all kinds of different topics and things, but nothing in speech form.
Right.
And I started working on it, and then I sent you I said, look, Josh, I spent hours trying to prepare to send you things.
Right.
And then I just said, I'm going to send Josh. I said, I know this is confusing, and I just sent you a bunch of gobbledygook. And,
right.
What did you say?
I said, this is too much of a challenge for my ADD. And just send me requests. Like,
right.
You want to send me a topic, I'll send you back a gem. And I did, right?
Yes. And of course, the thing is, I have this fear. It's all silly, but I have this fear that something is going to be the last straw with every relationship I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to say, Andy, all you said to me was, that was good. I received that information. Good. I did start to spin out on it a little bit, but then I could keep myself relatively. So I kept trying. I did work every night, but I would also spin off, go on Twitter things. And so the night before the speech, it was about 14 hours before the speech. I basically, not a nervous breakdown, but I did panic.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. I couldn't take all these different documents into one document.
Right.
So what I did was very smart. I tweeted that I'm going after Ricky Gervais in 12 hours.
Uh-huh.
That was a very good thing to do, because then people started attacking me from overseas.
Right.
And then I started to say to myself, hey, idiot, moron. That's how I talk to myself. In this case, it was right.
Right.
Why are you doing this? Why are you stirring it up before the goddamn speech? Don't you know it's going to take you out of the mode? And then I would yell at myself more. And I thought not my career was over, but it's like I have fears like the police are going to get me.
Right.
Like with the Ricky Gervais stuff, there's this troll guy who writes articles about me and he accuses me of slander. You know, I don't slander, but if I say Derek sucks, that's not slander, Josh.
No.
Unless you think it is.
No.
So then I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. When Susan got up in the morning, it was like this. This time I'm serious. I don't know what. Do you have any joke? I have a couple, but so I was able.
That's the most acting you've ever done. Okay.
They're gonna kill me. Who? Why did I agree to do this speech? 22 years later, why would I agree to do this? Ricky Gervais's followers are horrible. First of all, they use words like bloke and chap, which makes me so mad. I just can't stand them. But anyway, then I just made one big document.
Okay, good.
I started to feel calm around 10 or 11 or 12. I made one big document, printed it out a half hour before the speech, and the other award show was running late. But the things, you can't believe the last minute things I have to do.
Yeah.
The jokes you gave me were in an email.
So you had to print them out somehow.
I had to print them out. And did you see me rustling? I rustled for about 10 minutes. I'm looking for 3 jokes from you. Really? Do you know what they were?
No, which ones?
I don't know. It was the ones with something about the CNN. Maybe it was a CNN joke or something. But I did those jokes about.
You did some of, yeah.
I did those jokes. So I don't know, but it was like, the fact that the speech before me was going long gave me a little extra time to get stuff together more and to find those jokes of yours. So it's like my life. I don't know if it's ever going to change from this horrible roller coaster, but it was definitely. I felt after the speech that I had completed something really good. One whole year, the year being broken up by big problems, getting help for my problems, which I assume would cure them by now.
Yeah.
And then just getting the speech under my belt this year, and then it went well, and I was just thrilled. I was so relieved.
And you felt good about it?
Yeah, because here's the difficulty with the speech, and because we had talks about this, you can guess what are they going to, are they going to laugh at this, or are they going to laugh at that? Right. Whatever the thing is, like I was talking about giving people less shows or whatever the thing is. They're never going to laugh like when I first started the speech, because they're all plugged into every show that's coming out, and there's basically 3 networks, and there's all the big wigs are there.
Right.
It's never going to be that way again, because sometimes I look in the eyes, I don't know why they came to the speech. Right. And so
Montreal muscle memory at this point.
Right, and so it's like some things I thought were going to kill. People know what they are because I mentioned that afterwards that they didn't kill.
Yeah. It's usually pretty apparent.
Dave Becky. I can't forget to do Dave Becky.
Right.
I thought that would kill. That would have. It did okay, but it would have killed in the old Montreal days.
Right.
Because
it kind of got a strong laugh, but you went back. First of all, you switched from Dave Becky to Dave Rath, is what it seemed like at one point.
Well, I say hi, Dave Rath. How are you? I'm okay. This is a guy who's normally would be standing on his head doing bits for me.
It's year 22. That's the problem.
It's year 22. And the other thing I will say that I know is true about me, because I've seen it with other comics, is that I am always over-exaggerating how poorly I'm doing.
Right.
There's nothing that people could do that would be enough of a response.
Right.
So, but the bottom line is, I thought Guy was great. Guy Branum brought me up. I love him.
It was great, yeah.
And so I'm very happy. Everything went really well.
I thought you did great. I mean, I laughed throughout.
Funny cars.
And we're back. So obviously we're both showbiz
regulars,
creatures. I don't know.
What would you call us? Raconteurs?
Creatures. I think.
Yeah, we're creatures of showbiz. We are in showbiz. We're not embarrassed to say, Josh. Why don't you just admit it? That you're a big muckety muck in show business, a mover and a shaker, and we know we have stories.
I can't go with all of that, but I'll go with the stories part. We both have done a fair amount of TV work, and I think these stories all involve TV fun.
I hope you enjoy them.
TV fun.
Waste up. I love doggies. I really do. I should host a show where I interview celebrities and their pets.
Wait a second.
Hold it.
Were there celebrities on that show?
It's the meanest thing you've ever said. That means you're saying our friends Kathy Griffin and Tippi Hedren. Yeah. You're saying that Tippi Hedren is not a
I would
celebrity.
say Tippi Hedren, but...
What did I say?
Hedren.
She changed her name when
really?
She became a vegan.
Once she appeared on your show, she had to change her name.
We had some heavy hitters on that show.
Honest to God, I never saw that show.
We had Wallace Langham.
We're talking about Andy's pet interview
short,
show.
It was 4 seasons.
On Animal Planet, correct?
Yeah, 39 episodes called The Pet Shop with Andy Kindler.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. It was shot in Burbank at Empire Studios, which I don't know if it's still there.
Right.
But the people who produced the show had no sense of humor. They knew I was a comedian when they hired me.
Right.
But then I swear to God, they kept saying, does it have to be, do you have to make it funny? I mean, now that could be a comment on me any night.
Right.
But they were like,
no, usually it's, could you make it funny?
Yeah, because you're making funnier.
Right.
And then they said to me, can you not talk to the band leader until after the fourth? I mean, it was like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't take any notes well. And you know who was on that show?
Who else?
From Last Picture Show, crazy lady. What's her name?
Sybil Shepherd?
No.
Cloris Leachman?
Yes, she was terrible.
Really?
She came out in the middle of my monologue to complain that the band was making her cat nervous.
Really?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was really the worst.
Did you keep that?
No, and that was like one of the showdowns I had with the producers. They were like trying to arrange with her how to do it again with her interruption of my monologue.
So we can actually get coverage of it this time?
Yeah, and I actually, it was the only time I went into the control room. I was angry enough to go into the control room.
Yeah.
And it just didn't matter. What am I even care? What do I care about this? What do I care? This is ancient history.
At least it's a story I hadn't heard.
And they won't play them again.
Really?
At least it's a story. What are you saying? Do I repeat my stories a lot?
You just asked that.
I think that's true. So we had a meeting, and we decided to try and lead each other into anecdotes, like Carson would do in the old show. So I understand that you are having trouble with your lawnmower.
Right. Yes, I am. It's
So now something. Now what is this thing about VH1 then? What's the thing about VH1 I heard?
Something from my blue card. Oh, the VH1 story was the VH1 story is because I hadn't thought of it since Kinnear days.
Yeah.
It was Greg was in his first big movie, which was Sabrina, a remake of Sabrina with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sidney Pollack directed it.
Right. I love Sidney Pollack. I saw him once in the Whole Foods in Brentwood, and I was floored.
Yeah.
But what's wrong?
Sorry, it's
you okay?
Congestion.
But Sidney Pollack shopping for vegetables?
I have wake apnea.
You have wake apnea.
Yes.
Okay, so Greg was doing Sabrina.
Yes.
Oh, but he didn't leave the show permanently for that.
Not yet. Not at that
See
point.
what a good interviewer I am?
Yes. So he was going back and forth, and we were banking shows, which isn't very fun on a late night talk show at all. Don't do anything topical. Okay.
Oh, there's
That's
nothing...
actually when I left the show, is when that started happening, by the way.
Why? Because he started getting more movies, and then
it was clear he was going to be a movie star, and I couldn't just keep banking shows because all you have is topicality when you're doing a daily show. You know,
that's wrong. He had one foot out the door, is what it sounds like.
He did. But he gets hired to host this the VH1 Honors, which was this award show on VH1, obviously, to award celebrities for their charitable work.
It always sounds like a scam.
It was kind of a scam, but there was big stars involved. There was like really big stars on this show. Michael Jackson was on this shoshow.
Oh my God!
Bette Midler was on the show. Morgan Freeman, like Vince Gill. It was like a bunch of and the Reverend Al Green, who they had to make up charitable work he was gonna do.
I think that's
they
so
like
good.
formed a chair. They like booked him and then realized, he hasn't actually done much charitable work at all.
Now,
I do too.
Was he like he was born again or something maybe, or
I don't know. I've only known him as the Reverend Al Green always.
Right, and I love. Oh God, he's so great.
But yeah, me too. But so we had to create. We had to set up a little charity for Al Green and talk about what he was about to do.
Celebrity Apprentice situation.
It was kind of that. So Greg is off filming Sabrina at this time, and he ropes me into being his guy, his writer guy, monologue, his guy on the show. And the producer of the show, we won't say who he is, but he's the guy who produces award shows.
I know who he is.
Yeah. And he wasn't, he frankly didn't want me there. And
I think I had the same experience.
And it was very clear from day one when I went to his office with the Emmy Nook built in that he didn't want me.
What did he explain how this
It's like
works?
he had built his office that it was literally sort of, there was a nook built into his
with
wall
the Emmys?
that was Emmy shaped.
That is the worst thing I've ever heard. That's worse than the Holocaust.
Yes. So he didn't want me there to begin
I'm
with.
kidding, Josh. It's not worse than the Holocaust. Jesus. You got pretty upset.
I was trying to not get derailed.
That's right. That's right. I can see that look in your
You're
eyes.
just going to throw those in there like that. I'll have to start paying attention.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm very proud of myself this week because I'm letting you get a couple of words in edgewise in the story.
Usually the first half of the show is yours, and then I wait for you to like.
But even when you're
tuck her
telling,
out.
You see how I'm interrupting right now?
Yeah.
That's my problem. And I don't know. I'm trying to cure.
See, what the problem is that I don't know that these stories can actually bear the weight of your interruption. I don't know that they're actually that strong a story.
No, but originally I thought of myself as like I could add to the stories,
right?
Like going, Right. But it's like one of the guys I can't stand is Chuck Todd, who's on NBC, and it doesn't matter why I can't stand him. But when he asks someone a question, he's so self-absorbed. He answers like this when they're answering, Right. He makes that sound.
Right.
You don't interview someone and go, I'm
doing it as you're telling me this, though.
What's that?
I'm going, right, yeah.
Right.
As you're telling me this, I'm doing, yeah.
But it actually proves that he doesn't care what they're saying. Now I want to ask you this.
Right.
All right. So, by the way, I just want to interject with this, though, that you have worked with the biggest names in this business, my friend, with all these shows you've been on.
It's been a long career.
I don't know why I said the biggest names in the business.
It's been a long career, Andy.
You worked with Ray Charles.
No, I didn't. I met James Brown on later, though.
Oh, my God.
I met Little Richard. I got aspirin for Little Richard.
That sounds like an old joke.
It does.
You have what he had a headache?
Yes. Oh, Lordy, I have a headache.
He actually said he invented headaches. He stole them.
I'm the architect of headaches.
That's me and Josh almost doing what we would. Josh and I would not do a black voice because we're educated enough to know that would be rude.
Right, but you're doing specifically Little Richard.
That's right, but that's the quandary.
Right.
Is how do you do as a white person? How do you do anything?
You lay in just enough dialect to sell the character and then back off.
All right, so we're back on the VH1
soundstage. Okay, so I'm working with Mr. Big Producer Guy.
That we won't say.
We don't need to say because I might need a joke writing gig someday.
But those are the initials, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's older than him.
You know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Only two Jews who work in the business would know who the people that have annoyed them.
Initials down.
By initials.
So he didn't want me there. Greg is off in New York filming Sabrina. So I'm like just working with him here. It's not like I'm working with Greg, you know. Greg's too busy to even talk to me. He's just expecting me to have some shit for him when he gets back. And like 4 days before the award show, Greg's like, I'm not going to be able to get away.
From Sabrina?
From Sabrina, yeah. They're not going to break me.
What was so earth-shattering about wasn't Sabrina shot on one set? It's like a love story. Why did they have to be at Sabrina? It really makes me sad. And you know what? I mean, he's starting to annoy me now, this Greg Kinnear.
Yeah, well, you know, I think.
Why did he tell you and not the show is what I want to know.
You know, he told the show.
Oh, right.
And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm done here. And they were like, nope. So they bring in Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow as the hosts.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be fun, except Lisa Kudrow and Jennifer Aniston, they bring their own guys from Friends.
Oh, no.
So they've got their own guys. I'm like, I asked those, you guys want any help? No, we're good. You know.
They didn't want any of your help.
They didn't want my help. They were just gonna, they were there for, their girls, and I was there for my guy who wasn't coming. So
did they ever start out a joke with the one about?
So, but instead of letting me go, since they had to pay me already at this point, they just made me come to rehearsals for 2 days and do nothing.
Was it painful?
It was kind of painful because I hate doing nothing.
And you couldn't contribute?
I couldn't really contribute. There's nothing to contribute.
Well, what kind of writers don't respect another writer?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Right.
With their Waterman pens, So now the night of the show, and it's like they basically, all right, you stand by the next to the stage in case anyone needs a line. Like no one's going to need a line.
This is a torturing.
But it's like stand right there.
Yeah.
It was really like this is your spot. This is
So this person is a bad person, right?
He was kind of I didn't have fun.
But I'm saying in the way he was trying to make you have a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely. He resented me and didn't hide it.
I love those kind of people.
Yeah, he resented that he had to pay me from the beginning, and,
right.
And he resented now that I was an extra thing he had to pay for.
So in his mind, he thinks you went up to Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow. Like, you guys don't need me, right? You got your own people.
Right, exactly. And so they put me like right next to the stage, and I get to chat with Morgan Freeman and people who are waiting to go on, but they don't need a line. They have their stuff on the prompter, and that's what they're going to say, Except for now Michael Jackson's coming, and now this giant security team moves into the wings of the stage. And and this giant guy keeps going, you have to move out of here. And I'm like, I can't move. This is my spot.
Yeah, right.
You have to move. And I'm like, and now I'm pissed. I'm like, no, I'm not moving. I promise I won't touch Michael.
Right.
And he's just like, stands in front of me, and kind of, puts his back to me, and just sort of occasionally will sort of lean back, like as if to clear me.
Oh my
and I'm just like, at that point, I'm like, fuck you, I'm here. and so Michael Jackson and Boyz II Men do their number, and they literally come out of the floor. They like rise up out of the floor, and it's Michael Jackson and Boyz II Men, and they're doing their song, and and they finish the song. And Michael Jackson, dashes off stage immediately, like as if people were mobbing him, but no one was mobbing him because we're backstage at a showbiz thing.
Yes.
So
there's no chance for
it. And his security team moves in around him, and they start, ushering him out quickly as if they were Secret Service ushering a president who's just been shot almost, And one of the Boyz II Men guys sees him rushing off without him saying goodbye or anything. He's like, "All right, Mike. See ya." And Michael Jackson stops dead in his tracks and turns around and goes back and hugs all the Boyz II Men guys and says, "Good job," and does all this thing, and then rush back out the other door. But it was so funny to see this guy go, "All right, Mike,
goodbye." And anything Morgan Freeman say that?
I told him I was a big fan since all the way back to Easy Reader, which was an Electric Company. He's you go way back.
Oh, he was on the Electric Company.
Yes, he was.
I'm another show that I didn't watch, but it's after my time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the VH1 story.
You never can say a story and at the end go, ladies and gentlemen.
I was just trying to get out of it, that's all. The meanest I've ever been to you and the most you've ever made me laugh happened at the same time.
What was that?
That was your pogo stick accident on Letterman.
How mean were you to me?
The fact that I just laughed and laughed and laughed after you injured yourself on national TV. Could not stop laughing.
Well, that was
just like the sound guy in the actual
just like
piece.
The sound guy.
It was that kind of laughter.
Who said, he hurt himself on a pogo stick.
It was an amazing. For those of you who haven't seen it, is it online? Do you know? Mm-hmm. It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Andy Kindler pogo stick, would that search get you there?
Pogo stick Letterman.
Honest to God.
Toy Fair.
It is it's like a Super Dave almost sort of a fall. It's like the Great Gonzo almost. There's something about the arc backwards that you took that just made it so perfectly slapsticky beautiful.
Well, the night that it was on Letterman, I was in New York, obviously, because that's where Letterman is, and I was staying at the Parker Meridian, and Tom Arnold was staying there.
Oh, yeah?
And so he walked, I saw him one night, and I saw him the next day, and he said, he called me up in my room. He said, I've never seen anybody not do anything to break their fall. Nothing.
See, I'm still laughing like I just saw it.
And the reason is I have an excuse for it. These pogo sticks are like they're hydraulic, and you have to hold them with both your hands.
It's like riding a jackhammer, sort of.
Right. So you're holding this jackhammer type thing, and I kept getting. I would jump on the pogo stick, and it would go to the side. I would jump on the pogo stick, it would go. I got a compression. It went backwards, and because my hands were on top of it, I couldn't cushion my fall with my hands. I'm always reminded of the scene in Lost in America.
Yeah.
Where he goes to the guy in the small town to get a job at the employment office. Right. He goes, how much money did you make? $100,000. Over what time period was that? A year.
That was a year.
He goes, oh, well, I'm very glad I could be your morning's enjoyment. Entertainment. Oh, yeah. He goes, are you sure you don't have anything? And the guy goes, you mean like in the $100,000 box?
I'm still getting pogo laughs.
Well,
the other time I remember laughing like that, where I could just think of it and start laughing, was.
I hope it doesn't involve me.
It does not involve you. It involves Greg Kinnear. I did this. We did this cold open, and the joke was basically it's like him and the director in the hallway he's like comes out of his dressing room. Morris, they're in there again. Could you just call the exterminator? This is freaking me out. And he's like,
was it the writers who were in there?
Huh?
Was it the writers who were in there?
No, they were. He walks back in, and there's miniature donkeys. This thing. But when we shot it once, and we got a decent take of it. We shot it again. Greg walks into his dressing room, and the donkey starts spraying diarrhea around his actual dressing room like a fire hose. He's literally like rotating and spraying this fire hose of diarrhea around.
I don't normally laugh at these type of things. It seems very funny to me.
It was fantastic. And Greg had this fantastic reaction, complete just realization, then freaking out and like diving just out of frame, kind of.
Oh, he dove out of his own office?
Yeah, like he ran right out the door, just past camera. So it was like this beautiful, just like this, and it was just like this amazing spectacle of diarrhea.
And how long did that take to get?
They literally had to bring in a hazmat team. There was guys in full hazmat suits.
Are you serious?
Yes, it was just amazing. And I learned you don't, because we wrote it at the last minute, if you're ever booking a donkey for your sketch needs,
don't feed them.
Book them in advance, because otherwise then they won't feed them in the morning before the shoot. But we booked them around noon, so they had already fed them for the day. Showbiz fun.
And we're back.
There's been a few conversations that people have written in about and commented about, and
conversations
we had that veered into
weird territory.
Well, or stayed on a topic for more than 2 or 3 minutes. So there's there's a couple that stand out. This first one is the most serious of them, and it's when we got on a little bit of a jag dealing with our dead parents.
Right.
Dead parents.
Dead parents. 101. Did you see the tribute to Arnold Palmer that they had? Oh my God, I love Arnold Palmer.
I did too. Arnold Palmer was.
I wanted to be him, look like him.
Did you?
Kind of. I don't know.
He was kind of before my time, but he was one of my dad's only sports heroes was Arnold Palmer. And so when I worked at NBC, and my dad had cancer. It's a little family thing we have, this cancer thing. Arnold Palmer signed to Get Well. Dear Mayor, get well. Arnold
That's
Palmer
unbelievable.
thing.
Now, how did he know? How did you get it to him? Because you were working at the same.
I was working at NBC at the time, yeah.
And he
We just went over to the old green room.
Wait a second. But was he working for NBC?
Who? Arnold Palmer was a guest on the Tonight Show.
Oh, see,
that's why he was.
Why you're like me now, leaving out huge parts of the story.
Yep, that was crucial.
I had no idea that. I thought that he was. Well, my image was that he was announcing at NBC, and you walked into his golf office.
Right. While he was announcing.
He supposedly was a very, very nice man. Everyone loved him, and he also had a drink named after him.
He did. That crazy guy just couldn't leave his iced tea alone.
He could. Now, my dad passed away, and I can't stop talking about it because I feel that I need sympathy and empathy and people being sad for me.
I can give you empathy.
But nothing else?
No. I spilled the sympathy when it was appropriate.
You did. I mean, I wouldn't say you went out of your way to express your condolences. So stupid. No, you were a little mean to me when my father passed. I'm not going to lie to you.
Hey,
First of all,
toughen up. Hey, toughen up.
What? You think the comedian years ago heard some comic do a terrible joke and then say to the audience, walk it off. I've never gotten that in my head. No, but my dad's birthday. I don't know why I start. My dad's birthday is June 16th.
So we just had it.
Right. So we just had that, and I felt. I did feel sad, but my whole big problem as a human is the little guy who lives in my head who's running the show. Right. So everything's always like, all right, it's your father's birthday. Are you going to cry? What are you going to do?
Right.
You got to do something.
But that's you. I think that's normal for the first few years. You have to find a way to file it away, kind of, and decide, kind of, your brain decides what it's going to remind you of. Does it remind you to mourn him, or does it remind you to like celebrate him in your head? And
right.
You move much more towards the celebrate side of the spectrum as time goes on.
That echoes what the great Jonathan Katz. And I'm not just name dropping because he's a friend, but if it helps the story that I am name dropping, why not? Let's get every angle of this story helpful. He sent me a very, very nice, I think an email or something where he basically expressed that it takes a long time when you lose a parent, and also it comes out in odd ways. And that was really something for him to say, because I did notice I would be getting very angry sometimes, and not my usual anger.
Right.
Not my usual anger, because I found an inconsistency in 30 Rock. No, I did find I was getting angry, and then realized it was because of my dad. You know what I mean? It was like it was a good emotion not to be sad and to be angry. So that helps when you can figure out what's going on.
It definitely does. And I also found very distinctly that when your parents die, your relationship continues. Your relationship with your parents definitely continues. I mean,
now, what do you mean? How do you mean that?
I mean that there's at a certain point with your parents, you know what they're going to say. You know what their response is going to be to virtually everything you throw at them.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know, and so, so those conversations, they become sort of shorthand in your head, but it's like you still are bouncing the same thing off your parents, whether they're there or not, because like if your parents, if you talk to your mom and went, "Hey, Mom, what do you think about this?" You know what her answer would be before you ask it,
Right.
It was a strategic decision whether you were going to ask it or not in the first place, Well,
just you bringing that up brought up a lot of painful memories for me. So maybe we have, maybe we have different situation going on. No, I think that's absolutely right. That's interesting.
But like for me, like I lost my dad at my early 20s.
Right.
So, part of my relationship continuing with him is like hitting 40 and going, oh, this is what it must have looked like for him, or,
Right.
So now I'm like closer to him because I have more empathy and more perspective for what I was seeing from,
Yes.
So the relationship keeps growing is what I'm saying because of that, because you keep sort of learning about your parents even though they're not there to teach you it.
Right. So you don't mean in a spiritual way, but I kind of mean in a spiritual way.
I mean it in a spiritual way too.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously, there's this primal, like I want my mommy thing,
Yeah.
And whether they're there for real or there in a ephemeral space in your head, they're still there,
Yeah. And the other thing is that the more time goes by, you can look, I assume, and remember joyful things without the painful things. I don't know. Sometimes people say the pain never goes away.
Yeah, I mean,
I've dreaded it my whole life, losing a parent. That's all I thought about.
But I think that, to me, that's like one of life's questions. It's like, when will I get married? When will I lose my parents? Will I have a kid? And to me, it's like, it became like an answer to one of those questions just got answered.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, now I know when my parents are going to die. It's not like, are they going to be in a nursing home and I have to take care of them? It's like, nope, got the answer to that.
Right.
I no longer have that to wonder about.
Yeah.
Which is, of only a tiny bit of comfort, or of, it's not of that much solace, but it is like one of those life questions that just gets answered.
Well, that was the thing too. Now, I don't want to bum everybody out, and maybe we already have. This is a trigger warning. If you don't want to be bummed out,
Go back 5
If you don't want to
minutes.
hear me say open and casket, don't listen to the next 30 seconds. But I would always have been like, I could imagine all the time what would it look like to look at my dad.
Yeah.
And they did have the casket open, and it was comforting to me.
Yeah.
And I would never have imagined that. I would have just imagined myself screaming, my dad. It's like,
right. But there's a reason they've, held on to that tradition for hundreds of years, because it has some emotional.
Right, but when you were a
role.
kid, didn't you think it was always like, to me?
Well, no, because I never went to I still don't think I've been to an open casket funeral ever.
Oh, you have to try it.
Doodly 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 doodly.
Hello, monster.
We're back.
Hey, baby. I love the wild link. Hey, baby, you're fired. We got to have more of those. You're fired, Josh.
Well, now we'll have a show to sample it from. Well, actually, that actually did segue very nicely because, of course, while I said it's just two Jews talking,
Yes.
with all of the voices and characters,
But wait a second,
it's like a village.
All
It's
right,
like a village.
when do I
doing a
insert my
podcast.
horrible joke?
Go ahead, insert your joke.
Oh, no, you do. You have to open it first.
Well, as I said, we're just two Jews talking.
Wait a second, Josh. We're not
Yes.
just two Jews talking. During the show, we occasionally grope. See, that's edgy. It's in the news. It implies sexual harassment, but it's with each other.
Right.
So there's no benefit.
So it was really just a cry for help.
Exactly.
All right. So like I was saying, it takes a village to put on this podcast.
That's true.
And here's some of the inhabitants of that village.
It was like Foster Brooks, but not intentional.
My wife's from just outside of Rochester.
I know I've told you this before, but I really love the fact that he had a commercial on TV before he died, obviously, and he was advertising his DVDs or whatever.
Yes.
And this nobody knows. I mean,
I know. I went ice fishing, and I brought home 300 pounds of ice. My wife cooked it up. We nearly drowned.
Now, is that joke funny because he's drunk?
Everything's funny because he's drunk.
So,
just outside of Rochester.
Well, so he had this commercial to sell his DVDs. Now, people don't know who he is that much, so they're watching these DVDs. Here's the joke he does to sell the DVDs. My first wife died from eating poison mushrooms. My second wife, she died from getting hit over the head with a shovel. She wouldn't eat the mushrooms.
Classy.
She wouldn't eat the mushrooms. He's doing a joke how he killed.
Double murder.
She wouldn't eat the mushrooms, so of course I had to bash her head in like a shovel. And that's the old comedy? And we get in trouble?
Right. He is like, I can't play colleges anymore. They're just too politically stick up their ass.
What is Jose Feliciano sing like?
Hee-haw, beat his good head. A man, he ain't so hard to understand.
Now, we're not going to go get for right. You know what? Come try and.
That's fair use.
That's fair use.
That's parody laws.
But look at hey ho, and I walk around my house going hey ho, hey ho.
It gets reductionist.
Hey ho.
Just down to hey ho. Oh, beat his head.
Beat his covered.
A man, he ain't so hard to understand.
Black Lives Matter. Well, I don't know if that voice should be in there. Black Lives Matter. Now, why am I doing a black voice? I got to listen. I got confused. I wanted to do a stereotypical black voice instead of a Jewish voice, saying Black Lives Matter. Oh, this I have to worry about now? Oh, I don't matter?
There's a place where frozen peas grow over the winter. In July, they get picked.
Now, what is his
in what world do you say in July? How do you give me this note? Who is this person talking to me?
Well,
July.
What do you know?
In what possible dimension do you say in July?
What's the proper, Mr. Wells? What's the proper way to say it?
Well, don't even give me copy like this. In July. In July.
You named your car brand. You loved your car brand. And then one day, you did your happy dance. That's insidious, that commercial.
It is.
Do you think that commercial is part of a larger conspiracy?
What am I supposed to do? Make 3/4 of a commercial?
You do some music and I'll do a writer's almanac for you. Well, Joyce Carol Oates wrote in 1974, "A wind that looks down the lane. She lived in... She was studied at an interesting place, and she was very famous for her pies."
You know how, like, sometimes when it's like an impression is based on some phrase you get caught in your head 20 years ago?
Yeah.
This is what it was with Vince Scully. I was listening to the Dodgers one day, and he's like, "There's a young man on the field. Apparently, he thought it would make him a big man. Anything but." So for years, my impression of Vince Scully.
What do you mean, a guy?
Anything but.
Oh, I mean a guy who ran down onto the field.
Yeah, a kid went on the field. Apparently, he thought it would make him a big man.
Anything but.
Anything but.
Now, Vince Scully is a baby.
Oh, anything but.
I'm Judge Weinstein. Yeah, sure. Well, I sound this way because I'm just slightly more well-adjusted than you.
Is that what they sounded like, Bodhisattva? Bodhisattva? It doesn't sound like it to me. That's not Steely Dan, I know. That's not the stereo selling powerhouse.
You know, that's a terrible impression of me, and yet it still belittles me. So I
it
have
still
to say,
belittles me.
You know, I wrote that.
When you can do an impression of someone with just a guttural noise, so like Minnesota musicians, you're like, you're doing it.
Right.
You know, you're doing Prince.
Is that their song too?
I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. I told the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said,
Wait, were they the original witch doctor, or they did a cover of it?
no, they were the original. David Seville.
Oh, I don't like that song. I love the song, the first song.
I want a hula hoop.
Oh, that's the greatest song. I want to be Mr. Potter from Wonderful Life. Why don't more people root for him?
You once called me a warped, frustrated old man. What are you but a warped, frustrated young man?
He's so mean to that.
Miserable little clerk crawling in here on your hands and knees with nothing but a $500 equity in a life insurance policy. You're worth more dead than alive.
Oh, my God. You must do Christmas readings or something.
Yes.
Beautiful
You're nothing but a warped, frustrated old man.
beautiful old Bannister.
Merry Christmas, you old building alone.
Let me tell you.
Merry Christmas, Emporium. My mouth's bleeding, Bird. My mouth's bleeding.
Mississippi, Ohio. Hello. Brooklyn, New York. What is your positive question for Joseph Stalin?
Hi, Larry. First-time caller.
Please,
long-time listener. I'd like to say to Mr. Stalin, when he's purging,
Yes.
does he binge first?
Yes. We're the entire hour with Joseph Stalin. You're listening to Larry King on Russian TV. No, it's perfectly normal. I'm 112 years old, and I'm working for the enemy.
I'm the Michael Flynn of broadcasting.
You know, the reason why I'm talking like this, Josh, is I'm trying to get like a Hugh Hauser type of podcast going.
Is that menudo you're eating? That's fantastic. That's amazing. Did you come here for a podcast? That's fantastic. You walked all the way? That's amazing.
So here's where you plant your spices?
Wow. Get a look at this. Come over here. There's spices here.
The cameraman must have hated Hugh Hauser because he's always like, get over here. Are you getting this?
Get a look at this.
Come here, cameraman.
That's fantastic.
It's not baby Jose Feliciano.
Yes, it was.
Oh, I guess it was.
What would it sound like, though, if you were actually on Tavis Smiley?
Tavis Smiley. Welcome to the Tavis Smiley Show. I'm Tavis Smiley. Tonight my guest is Cher. Cher, when you did the song Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves.
You couldn't alter the impression. You just couldn't alter your impression.
Well, what is the thing?
To suit it. It was you. What was the sound like with you on Tavis Smiley? And you had to go Cher, because that's what the bit you wrote.
Oh, well, what about me on Tavis Smiley?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could barely remember the bit I wrote, if that's any help.
It didn't help me.
No. I'm all, okay. Today my guest on Tavis Smiley is Andy Kindler. He's a comedian. Now, Andy, I have to ask you.
When you did Gypsies, Tramps.
When you did Gypsies, how come you don't enjoy Cornel West? Well, because he called Obama a war criminal. That made me very angry. Okay. Well, why did you suggest this bit? You should suggest a bit. I noticed. I look over there. He's drinking coffee. He thinks he can take off. He's going to take off now.
The dark side is coming now. Nothing is real. You'll never know just how I feel. Out of the shadow, she walks like a dream. Make me feel crazy, make me feel so mean. Nothing's gonna save you from a love that's blind. Slip to the dark side across that line.
Oh,
On the dark side.
Yeah.
Your pillow is shit. Your pillow is shit, too. Down pillows make your head go down. Memory foam makes you lose your memory. It's like Alzheimer's in a bag.
Oh.
I spent 2 years developing my pillow. Granted, there was a fair amount of drinking involved. I probably could have done it in an afternoon.
What kind? Now? How are you sleeping? Bed of nails? Oh, let me tell you what the problem is with that.
Bed of nails poke holes in your theory of sleep.
Feliz Navidad.
Bum 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 bum.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
Felicidad.
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I
I want to wish. You know what? I dare you to leave these things in. Boing.
That was a cherry on the Voices cake, my friend. I was talking about conversations that we've had that people have commented on, and this one actually may have had the most. This started talking about your music career.
Ooh, I remember this.
And then went into a bigger conversation.
About loving and hating yourself.
And ambition in general.
Ambition and drive.
So here it is. Ambition.
Hi, Mama. There was a time period where I was trying to be in bands.
Yeah.
That they had groups like Styx. Are you giving me the look?
No, Styx was the very first concert I went to at age 12.
Now, what am I missing?
You're not missing anything.
Kansas. Styx, Kansas, REO Speedwagon, Foreigner, and Journey.
Kansas REO Styxwagon.
REO Styxwagon. If you put an ad in the Recycler, which used to be the magazine, the newspaper people would advertise for musicians in.
It was the Craigslist of its day.
Well, yeah, exactly. And as I've always said, if I was single, I would have Craigslist Premium. All right, so that's not bad, right?
No, I enjoyed it might not work well at audio only, but visually with the hand up to your mouth.
Well, you could
Premium.
Craigslist Premium. So that's all the groups that were popular when I was trying to make it in music in the 80s.
Right. Well, no wonder you failed.
No, but I have to tell you, I figured out why I did fail.
Really?
This is no, I don't know. Do you want me to save this story for the? There's always what's happening with Andy's psychology or therapy.
Right.
Want me to save it for that segment or launch into?
No, I think let's go. Let's go, baby.
Okay, so
why did Andy fail at music?
Okay, it's unbelievable. Now these things many people may have figured out, but because I never took therapy until being the oldest Jew to enter therapy,
right.
I never when I was trying to
beating Harvey Weinstein.
What's that?
Beating Harvey Weinstein only by a couple of years, I think.
Why would you? The story's starting so lovely, right. And then you got to Harvey Weinstein me. So I don't know why. So anyway, when I was trying to be a musician, when I was 5 years old, I took a tennis racket up and I started to play like the Beatles. I always wanted to do something creative. My whole life, I dreamed, and I don't think
There's still time, Andy.
I don't think every kid dreams of that. Do they? Every kid? I mean, it was like
I think it's people who are broken like us.
Yeah. So when I started to be into bands, I loved playing music. I loved writing music, but I was very hard on myself, and I love the way Dylan sings. I love the way people sing that other people don't like the way they sing.
Right.
But people will make fun of my voice, and I realize it got to me.
Yeah.
After all these years, therapy taught me, not the years of therapy taught me that I was underselling how things were affecting me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was pretending they weren't happening. So the reason why I got sick of writing songs and playing music was because I think I suck on some deep fundamental level, because I've internalized whatever I got from my parents, even if they didn't directly say you suck. But I got this message of you can't do it. Why would you do music? Listen to your voice, kind of a thing, right? And the only way to get better, I'm proud of the songs I wrote, but I don't know how good they are. I say great, but the only way to get better is to do it. The only way for me to get better is to sing. I know this for a fact, even without the realization that I hated myself. I know for a fact that the more you sing, the more you do anything, stand up, singing, writing songs, the better you get at it.
Right.
You know? And so I simply was like making these different projects at the age of 20 or 21 and wanting the world to say, here's your record deal.
Right. Well, and I think, but that's every 20 or 21-year-old who's pursuing something, and especially you came to LA to do it, which was
right.
What, that to me seems like almost insurmountable, and even though my wife started in LA and got a record deal, but it's still just like, it doesn't seem, it's like, because I come from Minneapolis, where there's a local scene, and people become sort of local heroes before they,
right,
and build their audience, and they get that self-confidence in a world that's more supportive than LA,
right,
where you're gonna feel like you suck most of the time, in any pursuit.
Well, I think the advantage for me was when I came out to LA and I drove cross country and I was in a relationship that I couldn't stand. It was just a terrible drive, but it was a great drive too. I didn't come out to LA to make a music career. I came out to LA to feel bad about what I did in another environment. You know what I mean? Why not be by the beach and hate yourself?
Okay.
And
so it's just like, I want to live in L.A.
I really felt like I would. My dad had his own business. He didn't want me to go into business with him, but I just felt like I would somehow rely on my parents, or I would be too close to my parents. I just felt like I had to get away. It was like, even though I had mixed feelings about it. So I think I'm very lucky, especially with stand-up, because when I started stand-up, I would have had to move to another city to start.
Right.
You know, if I wanted to start small. So I never had that thing that people have. Maybe I've said this before. I'm sorry if I have. I never had that thing where people say, you know, I've been in L.A. for 2 years. I've been in L.A. 3. I was just frightened because it was that time in my life. However, the scene was so amazingly great in L.A., and I couldn't have. When am I going to go with the Blasters in 1979? Or X is here. Let me put my name next to X.
Right.
You know, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, but some people are ready at that age.
Well, and that's the thing, is that, and those are the people who make it in music in L.A. are the people who have such a internal combustion ambition, you know,
right,
that no one can tell them they suck, and they're never going to tell themselves they suck. And, you know, there's so many people who are super talented but don't have that drive. And then there's all these people who have that drive and aren't super talented.
Right,
you know,
right.
But there's like a few people who have both. And, you
yes.
know, and those people always succeed, it seems to me, you know.
Right. And also, like, when I was listening to Tom Petty.
He was one of those guys who had so much ambition and so much talent, you know, but even his ambition seems to have even outstripped his talent in the early days. He was just a driven...
When he was the Mudcrutch.
He was like a ruthless, driven dude when he was a young man, you know.
Yeah.
I think he always kind of was after that, you know, but especially, I mean, he was one of those guys who was going to make it and no one was going to,
right.
You know.
Now, I kind of said that too, but I didn't believe it. You know what I mean? I said that too.
Well, everyone says it is the thing. But
anytime someone would mirror back negative things I've been told before, I would fight against them.
Right.
But
he
had a deep belief.
Everyone has some self-doubt, but, you know, Tom Petty doesn't have crippling self-doubt.
Well, not only that, I'm just glad you're not saying Tom Petty's a great songwriter and you're Andy Kindler.
No,
but we're both in music. We both know that we've written some hot top 40 tunes.
Sure. No, I've written a half dozen songs that I'm really proud of in my life, you know.
I would say I've written about the same that I'm really proud of in my life, except I've written many, many more songs to have that. I wrote a song called For Sure. For Sure. That was in the song, me singing For Sure. I'll never live that down. Now, see, that I could have hated about myself.
Sure.
But not hate me.
For sure.
For sure. So, what Petty was saying that I thought was very interesting, though, was I forgot the song that he was showing how he was playing, but it was like G, and then he goes one down, and then one down. Maybe it's Don't Come Around Here No More, and he goes to the A or something and the D. But he said he walked around the house.
G, A, and D. He
used
1, 4, and 5.
You know what?
Amazing.
I can see your goddamn slams. You know, Don Rickles, you wouldn't know if he was going to insult you. With you, I can see it coming a mile away.
It was really more of a slam on Tom Petty and his 3-chord dynasty.
That's true. But he said he walked around the house for a week just playing these 3 chords and just going, and then the words came to him. And that's the stuff that I had to quit music when I quit because I didn't know why that I was hating myself.
Yeah.
I just thought it was bad. Right. You know, I was
it's
not
like
enjoying
golf for some people.
What's that?
It's like why I quit golf.
So I know, like now, when I look at the guitar, I don't have the same feeling anymore. So I know I've made a tremendous amount of progress just recently.
Is it inviting you back to play a little more now?
I do want to play more. My problem is coming up with excuses.
Right.
But also the fact that I have my guitar in the back of the closet, and you know it has to be ready to get out.
This is what I'm going through with my wife because she's feeling the urge again.
Right.
You know, and she's wanting to play guitar more, and I'm like, well, you have to make your guitar available to you. You know, put it out on a stand, and you might actually pick it up. You know.
Does she now? You as a musician, do you still have? Did you have any of the relationship I had towards what I was saying?
No, I never thought I was going to be a musician. I always wanted to play, and I played in fun bands, you know, and I have sort of, you know, since I moved to L.A., I played with Paul Feig and Gruber at that band for years, and I played with my wife and Gruber and other people in our band for years.
But you have confidence about it.
I have confidence about it, but I have no ambition. I never had any ambition.
Right, I see.
So no one could hurt me.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But it's, you know, it was all for fun, and I loved, you know, it was a cool thing to have with my wife in our life, you know.
Right.
if you can be in a band with your wife and have it not make you mad at each other, that's a really good sign.
And she's not Linda McCartney?
Yeah, exactly. But
Even if
I was Linda McCartney compared to my wife.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And she's not Linda McCartney.
Yeah. But it was really fun, and but then it stopped. At a certain point, it stopped being fun. Because playing gigs, it's like we're inviting the same 25 people to the same show.
Right.
How often can we do this? How much more fun is this than just playing at our house?
I feel that way. I mean, but also that I got into this thing where even in the 90s, I played like cover songs with my friend Les.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. But ultimately, when I first came to LA, I was like, I swear to God, I was like, I want to be in a restaurant where I'm playing music and singing just all night long. And that seems like a terrible job now.
Yeah. Well, there's always that thing, too. I mean, this is all ego, which is I don't want to look like a poser, It's trying to find that balance of this is what I want to do because it's fun, but I don't want people to look at me and think I'm sad or not living up to some ambition I don't actually have.
Because you're singing Danny's song?
Yeah, exactly.
She will be like me and he is free.
So that's why, but I mean, part of that is why I've always sort of found a sort of a comedy angle for a lot of the band with Allison wasn't a comedy band.
No, and my image of you was like you're very you can sing, you can play. Wait a second, I don't know if you play. Do you play?
I play okay,
but you can sing anything. Like you're one of these people who has a great voice and you can sing in anything, accompanying, lead. Don't you? You have a confidence about that, right?
Yeah, I feel fine about it.
Okay, I don't want to go on too much. Come on, show him, Josh.
Yeah,
show
I mean, I already felt like a dick going, no, I feel fine about my voice.
Yeah, very good. Now,
but I have a voice that I can stand in front of a band with and feel not.
Yeah, not
underarmed.
So when Allison, what about how she felt about what made her not want to play or like not want to play?
Well, she actually had a record deal.
Oh, I know.
It was actually the music business that first turned her off.
Right. Right.
And then she was really talented and had a great voice and wrote really good songs. So that's how she kind of got her record deal. And but she had a couple bands. Well, the first band put out a record that got some airplay called the Tearjerkers, who you probably saw back in the day.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
And then her band Maggie's Farm had a record deal and stuff. But when I met her, she was like at the end of her Maggie's Farm deal with this record company that was going under, and she had to get a temp job at NBC, which is where I met her.
But when you say like she's saying now she wants to get back into it, is she still mixed feelings about playing? Because I just want to have fun with making the music part. There's
just a mixed feeling about finding a place for it. It's like how do you have this in your life in a big way without attaching ambition to it, because it brings up all those things that you didn't do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's the ultimate thing. It's what everyone is struggling with. You really don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But I do realize that I started to do whatever I did because I wanted to do it. Yeah, I mean, maybe I fantasized about being a star, but I liked playing music. I liked doing comedy. And so I was very subject to that other stuff that has nothing to do with that. It was all about where will I make it? Will I not make it? It was like all the stuff that I tell comics not to do.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Just do your act and see where it goes,
Right.
But I don't know. But does she? Look, I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just interested to know what people are like what they were like. Some people.
I think for her, I mean, it's always just like she wants it to be a part of her life because it's
right.
It gives her pleasure at its best.
And she's taking a break from it.
And she had sort of taken a break because she went to school and became a professor, and she found this thing that's now she has a gig that genuinely feels meaningful on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But I think now she has also the whole where the musical meaning goes too. So she's
it's also
it's finding a spot, just finding the right ratio, kind of.
Right, and also, but the thing about it is, what I'm learning, like when I've learned from stand-up, because I love stand-up, so stand-up has been an endless thing of where I can learn so much about myself by doing it. And now I realize that, I never had the same relationship with comedy that I have with music because my whole family was funny. I knew I was funny because I was being funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like my friends at work say I'm funny.
Right.
So I never was embarrassed or ashamed like I would be with music or however I was feeling. It just came more naturally to me.
Right.
You know?
No, and stand-up is the better analogy for all this for me personally, because I've come and go from it, and
Right.
I've had this sort of, this conflicted relationship with stand-up because I always feel like I should be doing stand-up.
Yes.
And when I'm not, I feel like I'm not fulfilling something that I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. Right.
And part of that's just because it's how I see myself. I think I'm a comic, and so if I don't have an act, then I'm not really,
Right. That makes sense.
So, but
even though it's not true, I mean, you are a comic regardless of what you do.
I guess, but
however you're challenging
but the last
yourself
couple of
works.
years, I finally have gotten back to the point where it's like, okay, now I feel like a comic again. I've done enough time, and I've gotten enough, of my powers back on stage where I'm actually decision making on stage instead of just trying to remember material. And
Yeah. But the thing is I think that people worrying, we all worry what's our place going to be, where are people going to remember us when we
see. And I don't honest to God, I don't anymore. I've really shed.
I do it way less.
I'm so not conflicted about fame or legacy or success anymore because I just don't give a shit. I really don't. I think it doesn't. In this day and age, I'm convinced that unless you're a huge star, we're all going to fade away pretty quickly.
Well, that's the thing, too. It's like, I used to watch the Academy Awards or watch these things and be jealous, Why am I not at the Grammys?
I don't even
not the Grammys.
And that's another
the
barometer.
Emmys,
I watch this stuff and I go, yeah, I don't want to be there really. I would if I was supposed to be there that night, I would dread it for the couple of weeks in advance.
But I also project. I would watch these things and go, look how everybody else, they love each other and they're all schmoozy. It's everything from the outside in is a
right.
Is a
but I enjoy my
misapprehension.
place on the outside is I guess my thing now. Is like I did there was a long time where I thought I wanted to be on the Hollywood success track.
Right.
And now I really am trying to find a way to make entertainment product, but not in a Hollywood way.
How about a podcast?
Well, that's one of the ways.
And how's it going?
And documentaries and fucking, plays and albums and all this other shit that,
Yeah.
because I just want to, I want to keep growing, doing stuff. And there's lots of times where I've interacted with TV shows and stuff where there wasn't a lot of growing going on for a year.
You mean when you were writing for them? Or?
Yeah. And, and I'm not saying I won't write for TV shows again.
Right.
Because that's the thing that they pay me the most to do. But my initial point was like, I'm actually trying to find a way to exist as an outsider to Hollywood as opposed to trying to find my way in,
Well, I think for a variety of reasons, there are some people who are chomp at the bit or whatever about I just think it's the office part of it. Whenever I've been if I've written on anything longer than a day, I just it's very hard. I find it a hard environment. And maybe you get used to that.
Yeah,
but
I totally felt like I tricked myself when I forgot my first writing job because I had always grown up going, I'm not going to an office every day.
Right.
And I'm not going to wear a tie. I'm not going to an office every day. And then I got the first dream job, and it's like, oh shit, it's an office every day.
I guess the other thing I wanted to say was that when I first left college, I went to this place in Nanuet, New York, and Peter Rowan was playing. I'm sure you've heard of his name, Peter Rowan. He was in Older Than the Way and a lot of bluegrass bands.
I don't.
And he wrote a song called Midnight in the Moonlight. I think that was him. But anyway, he was playing in this band, and I was on our band. My band was on the same bill. For 4 or 5 hours, when they weren't on stage, all they did was play.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not exactly like this.
Right.
So a lot of my life has been figuring out what do I want to do as opposed to what I think I should do,
Yeah, no, me too. And both have changed.
Yeah.
The things I think I'm supposed to do and the things I actually enjoy doing have all changed.
Hamina, 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 hamina.
All right.
Oh, is that you coming out of it?
That was coming out of it.
Woo! Woo! You were doing the hamina. Woo!
Okay.
I apologize for everything. I don't know what I'm expecting to get from you after I do my sound
Well,
effect.
we're just making noises at each other, so
great.
there's a ceiling for how much approval one can give.
Well, and yet I think that I am going to be judged.
Well, you will be by our listeners, but
Oh.
not in this room. This is a safe space.
I can be myself here?
Yes.
No triggering?
Well, actually, another good segue, because this next segment is about me trying to quash you being yourself, really.
Well, I thought...
One of the main through lines of many of these episodes has been Andy and Twitter and their relationship.
Oh, yeah, you're trying to tell me what's the point of me making a fool out of myself.
Now, I'm not entirely proud of the segment.
This is what's great about it.
Just
What,
because
you sound like really angry at me?
I don't sound angry, but I just sound like such a bitch, kind of.
Yeah, but you know what, though? It's important that I be slapped down a thing.
Well, you'll see. The audience can judge for themselves. This is several episodes of the Twitter feud, for lack of a better word.
I can't wait to hear this.
Wrapped up into one neat little ball. Enjoy.
Listen, baby. Come on. It's Tuesday.
All right.
Tuesday.
That was one beat too many.
All right, stop it.
I experienced this week my first piece of Andy Kindler celebrity bash blowback. I got bash splash this
Wait,
week.
I'm not a celebrity, right?
No, you're not the
I'm
celebrity
the
in this.
blowback
You're the
part.
basher in this case.
Yeah, you know, I really didn't even realize that the actual connection in this story.
You laid out a tweet.
And not a great tweet.
No, not even really a strong tweet.
It's not even a funny. There's not even. It's not the movie's not coming out.
No, let's read the tweet. I can get it up here. This is Andy's tweet.
Folks, people like this. You know, a lot of people think that you don't. This dead space is bad, but this is where people settle in.
That's
Maybe
right.
they adjust their Barco lounger. Is that a current reference?
When does the next movie with @Seth Rogen having trouble with his college ? Neighbors come out ? Is Seth still a student? Don't make me watch it. Now that was
weak
his
at the
tweet.
end.
It's weak all the way
at the
through.
end.
It's
Don't
weak
make
all the
me
way
watch
through.
it.
No, I know.
That does not even qualify as a slam.
So the @Seth Rogen, of course, made Mr. Seth Rogen read it, which apparently was your
I'm
intention.
so used to doing it.
It was
No,
your intention,
well,
apparently.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's a weird thing because on Twitter they say that you're subtweeting someone if you don't tag them.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
When it's a public figure, I think it's fair. It's okay
to not do that.
Yeah. In fact, it's because it's hostile when you @ them and insult them in the same.
Okay,
tweet.
I'll argue with you.
So
this,
okay,
but
all right.
if I do Jimmy Fallon, I
No,
want
no.
Jimmy Fallon to see it.
That's a whole
separate
yes,
issue.
Separate issue. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
When I took this podcast gig, I knew that my chances with Jimmy
And you had three callbacks.
Jimmy,
Three callbacks.
Jimmy was out. Ricky was probably out of my
Right.
of my purview now. I bet Bill Maher's not going to call me much. But come on, this weak ass shit. And okay, so Seth Rogen sees this, of course,
Right.
because you tagged him.
I didn't even remember.
And his
it was such a
his
bad
immediate
joke.
response was @J. Elvis Weinstein. Why does he hate me, Josh? At which point I went, fucking Andy. But
Did you really do that at home? Were you really upset?
No,
at
I was
home?
not upset.
But
at
you
all.
knew.
I
But it
laughed,
was once
yes.
again.
But yeah, it was like, and what was my response? You saw my response was, I don't sense any conviction in it whatsoever. I can have him talked out of it by the end of the next podcast, which is what I'm doing right now.
Well, now
And he said thanks.
and okay, so then I wrote back to him. Did you know what I wrote
Yes,
back to him?
I saw that when you
Okay,
came,
so I
when
wrote
you
back
came
to
home
him-
from that particular show. I think it was what.
I think first I wrote back to you saying you agreeing with your sentiments.
No, you wrote back to him first with, I don't hate you. I was just bored.
Yeah, I said I don't hate you. I was just bored. Plus, I'm filled to the brim with envy and misplaced anger.
Right, exactly.
And now,
And then he wrote back, can we just be friends?
and then he followed me.
Let's be friends, please, or something. Yeah.
He followed me.
Yeah, well, he thinks you're funny. And
He only follows 875 people.
Yeah.
If he had followed me 2 years ago, we could have avoided this. And then when his mother came in,
That's the
I
other
always, first
beat
of, all,
of the story, people.
I didn't even know. He was so funny. I didn't know if that was his mother or father because Sandy's a male's name.
Right.
Too. So, but I wasn't going to say anything mean to someone's mother or father, but because she said something to the effect of like, you want me to straighten them out?
Like, who is this guy? I'll straighten him out. Yeah.
And I said, I don't think so. I run very fast.
Right.
And then she came back with, you can't outrun a Jewish mother.
Right, which is why you're in therapy.
You're a bigot. Ah.
Is that what they say? What do they say online?
That's you on Twitter.
What?
You're a bigot. Ah.
How long have you been cooking up this little slam for?
No, it just came out naturally.
You're a bigot.
Oh, but you know what? When you say it, I start to get upset about it again. Yeah. The bigotry.
All the hatred out there that you're going to solve.
Let me just ask you one question, Mr.
Okay.
Big Shot.
Yeah.
If they were saying online, instead of Muslims, if every time it was Jews, since their argument basically is that all religion is bad, these people are saying that.
Right.
Would they be able to get away with saying it about Jews even?
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I continue annoying people. That's why I engage robots. For that reason. I'm fighting you know what? I'm fighting the bad fight. I care.
No, you're fighting the good fight badly.
Yes, I'm fighting the good fight badly.
Yes.
I care.
And I understand that, and that's why I still love you. And I don't just miss you.
Here's the thing about it. Let's say we separate. Let's separate two things.
Okay.
One thing is, do you want to look at someone tweet that all day and night? Obviously, nobody who could take it.
Right.
Right. So I know it's annoying. I know when I'm being annoying, I'm annoying. So I really can't even argue that much on that.
Right.
But what I will argue about is I still can't believe it. I guess I'm surprised, and I didn't realize it. People's aggression towards religion and their aggression towards whatever it is they don't understand. And this has been going on forever. This
Right.
was going on when Polish people came here, when Chinese people came here.
Right.
This is always bad when this goes on. So when you have like these like pseudo-intellectual people,
Right.
that's like, like Sam Harris types.
Right.
And people, I don't understand what the appeal is. I feel they're more dangerous in a way because people think, oh, it's logical. It's logical.
Right.
I don't know why they sound like Seinfeld.
Right.
So.
No, and and again, good fight badly.
Right.
To me, it's, first of all, I never gravitate towards the enraging, so.
So I'm better than you, Andy. I don't get enraged. I'm Josh Weinstein. Oh, excuse me. It's Weinstein. It's not Wein. You've gotten enraged when someone mispronounced your name.
You know what?
You're a bigot. Bah!
You're more, quote, successful at Twitter because...
I don't think so, because you have like 80,000 more
Forget
followers.
about the followers. Forget about the followers. I'm just saying, like, from the feedback that I'm getting from people... See, I have a thing. I deep down believe there's something wrong with me, like from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for me to think I'm obnoxious, and that's a whole... We don't need to get into that kettle of fish right now. But when I see you on Twitter, it's like you're funny, you're insightful, and you're also not going, get the fuck out of here, you robot, or whatever it is.
Right.
That I would say to people when I've gotten really upset. I've been embarrassed at some of the things I've said because I'm so angry about it. And I look back and I regret it, and sometimes I don't, or sometimes. So all of that, I think one day does have to maybe, will go, I hope. Not go, but I'll be better at it.
See, that's the thing, is that's as a friend, this is like aside from Twitter spectator, as a friend, it's like I don't understand the instinct of inviting negative energy into your life when you're affected by negative energy in a negative way. Like some people get off on the fighting and it amuses them, and they aren't worried about what people think of. It's like, fuck them, and this is fun for me. This is sport. But you don't do it like sport. You do it you do it as if you're doing it for sport, but then you take it personally when it comes back. And I don't understand the draw of that. You get cranky and pissed off.
I think you can see the draw of it because what I'm trying to do, it's actually what my root problem is like if I believed in God, my father didn't believe in God, I would feel stupid because he would say things to me that I would make me, he wasn't trying to do it on purpose, but I could easily feel like these feelings I had that are spiritual feelings are that somehow it's not smart to have them.
Oh, and is this true? Is this your father was a devout atheist?
Well, he wasn't. No, I mean, my father actually couldn't.
See, now we're having a breakthrough.
My father couldn't, like when I told him about new atheists, he couldn't stand them.
Right.
And he would go to my mom's Quaker meetings and he had no problem. He was a nice atheist,
Right.
But he was agnostic, leaning towards atheist. But the dynamic between my father and myself, it wouldn't have mattered what the topic was. I felt like
He was belittling.
And regardless of, but not even because he was like, hey, he wasn't like walking around the house like Rickles,
Right.
trying to get us.
Right.
But the nature of like how he would say things like made me feel, or I reacted that way by feeling like it wasn't smart. Now, I took that out in the world, and that's why I get very, very upset at these people.
Okay.
Okay? Like these new atheists.
That's a piece of the puzzle for me.
Right, but so in other words, like if someone, it does on a certain level enrage me when someone says your mother's ideas are stupid,
Sure.
even because she's a Quaker. I do get enraged because,
But you put your mom out there as an example of you're making fun of my mom.
That's right.
Right. So
Well,
now your mom's in the conversation when no one else
what
put
are
her
these people?
there.
Yeah, but you see, in a certain level, that's what they want to accomplish. I'm not saying you're saying this, but their whole thing is they're saying, we're not saying the people are bad. We're saying the ideas are bad. Well, you can't separate the ideas from the people.
Right, but
It's
you're
a
throwing your mom out there for sacrifice for them to judge as opposed to your beliefs, for example.
I'm not a member of religion, really.
Yeah.
I'm culturally Jewish. I'm not a member of religion.
No, but
I'm defending someone who is a member
absolutely.
of
I
religion.
saw an interview the other day with Randy Newman, who was it was a couple of years old, but it was like for the Library of Congress, and they asked him about if he's religious, and he's like, no, but I don't take the topic lightly, which is kind of how I am, which is to me there's a place for religion. It's not in my life, but there is for a whole lot of people, and I think it's a blessing,
Right.
so to speak, for them, that they have it, that they have faith, and that it gives them strength in times when they need it. To attack that is bullshit.
Well, yeah. And so the thing is this: beyond the unpleasant nature of the interactions, if you looked at it from just like, it's almost a shortcut to me. If I say my mother's a Quaker, and then if they come back and say anything like this, there's something wrong, then I know these people are not reasonable people. Now, I think someone like you would say they're probably not reasonable people, that I'm attracting these people who are unreasonable, and then I'm having a further unpleasant thing with them. But I don't really know exactly what's happening sometimes because I never knew a lot of these things about people. All I'm saying is I don't start out – if I start out saying I'm going to get in a fight, I probably wouldn't go on at all.
Right.
I think it's like I have a naive – or I'm doing things unconsciously, or not unconsciously, but it starts to ramp up awfully quick.
Right.
And then but I don't think I'm doing it. I don't think my goal is to get into an argument. When I go on Twitter, I'm always usually in a good mood. Hey, let's see what's happening.
Right.
Or I'm upset about something politically.
Right.
But I plan to say something. Almost always plan to say something funny because. In general, I try and do that.
Sure. Yes. You default to funny generally.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows if it'll get better? But the only thing is, let me say it this way. Maybe this will be the easiest way that I can convey. The only way I'm able to get better right now, and I'm not saying you shouldn't point out my behavior. I think you should.
The reason I'm talking about it really is because we said last week we were going to talk about it.
Oh, God damn it. I forgot it was a bit. But the only way I'm getting better in life is to let the past go. Like basically say, and it really is okay going forward.
Yeah.
So, and then what I do is I say, don't pick up the phone, don't pick up the laptop.
Right.
If I get into an argument with myself, it starts to get the part of me that wants to defend my behavior going.
Right.
And then who needs it?
Right.
I know I have issues, but mocking other comedians is not trolling. That's not trolling. That's just mocking other comedians.
I don't know. I mean, I think in the case of Ricky Gervais, you straddled the line.
Why?
Because you were relentless in your. It wasn't like it was a playful exchange.
Well, I don't like him.
Right, but then.
Well, how's that trolling? Why doesn't he block me if he doesn't like it?
I don't know. I thought it was a genius stroke that you blocked him and then you kept going.
Well,
but had you actually blocked him and just walked away and pretended like it never happened, it would have been Andy Kaufman-esque.
See, I don't understand. See, here's the thing. I understand that on Twitter that your problems are out there for people to see, and it's annoying to them.
Right.
But the other part of it is, what is it anybody's business? Just block me, scroll past me. It's not true that I was obsessed with Ricky Gervais. If you look back over the whole year, I wrote about Jimmy Fallon, Ricky Gervais. It's just not true. It's true that people start accusing me of being obsessed, which
but
gets
I'll
me
tell
upset.
you from one level away, people ask me more fairly often, what's Andy's deal with Ricky Gervais? Because it's like, you've done it enough so that it's a trademark almost.
Well, what I got very angry at was when they started talking about just bringing my wife into it, my poor wife.
Yeah.
And then I just realized the guy is a sadistic bully.
Well, I mean, it almost has nothing to do with him. I mean, this was all, like you said, the night before the thing. Your whole point is to just wake up this hornet's nest of sycophants who are trying to impress him with their responses.
Forget about that. That's my self-sabotage. I'm talking about the whole year leading up to that. The whole year leading up to that, I reject the notion that somehow I'm doing it too much with him. It's hilarious for me to see some of his stupid promotions with his mouth open to gape. To me, it's hilarious. That's what Twitter is for, to mock that.
Okay.
How's that? But how's that stalk? He calls me a stalker. How's that stalking him?
He's saying it to get under your skin.
I know, that's true.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
You've proven yourself to be easily provoked and therefore fun.
Right.
That's
true.
We've talked about this a lot. You can do whatever the fuck you want on Twitter. It's not the most entertaining thing you do as far as I'm concerned.
Would you think the whole thing isn't?
No, I think if the occasional really funny mockery is cool. Making it seem like it's your mission in life seems like a beneath you.
I reject that. I reject that characterization.
I know you do, but
I'll show you 24-hour period, and there could be one Ricky Gervais thing, or there may be no Ricky Gervais things. Why do you say that that's omnipresent?
Because as someone who follows you over the last several years, it's there. It's a big part of your Twitter, and maybe it's because you always retweet people's responses to you and your response to them.
I don't always retweet
you
people's
frequently.
responses.
I'm going to stop using always, and I'm going to start
what
using
do I retweet?
frequently.
You mean like trolls?
When someone says something nasty to you, you'll tweet your joke back at them to the world.
Well,
so therefore we're seeing much of your interchange. We're seeing not just your Ricky Gervais joke, but we're seeing 9 responses to people who are pissed off about your Ricky Gervais joke and trying to get under your skin.
I'm not. Well, I wouldn't think. I don't. When I go off on people and I feel terrible, I don't like any of that stuff. It starts to get bad. But I still reject the idea that that's all I do on Twitter.
It's not all you do on Twitter.
No, you said the occasional funny thing, but you're implying that mostly I'm arguing with people.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think that's true.
I think you put plenty of funny jokes on Twitter too, but I think the vibe you get is a lot of conflict.
Okay, we'll have to. I'll take that as an advisement. I'm not convinced of that.
Okay,
because here's the thing. Again, Twitter's become the symbol of what's wrong with my life in terms of my battle, because that's where my obsessions go.
Right.
So I know it's an obsession. But it does not help me. It doesn't help me that you don't like it, or it doesn't in a certain way. I want my friends. All my friends have warned me about Twitter. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But that's not going to help. That's not going to change anything.
I'm not trying to change you. You asked me what I thought, and I'm telling you how I perceive it. I don't. I know. You're going to do what you do. And I'm still going to love you.
Right, I understand that. But you see, I guess I'm saying I don't have a philosophy of how I'm doing Twitter. To me, Twitter is the thing that's supposed to be whatever you want to say. So I don't say, I'm going to get my jokes going, or, I'm going to get... But, if I go talk about Trump, people, you're talking about Trump all the time.
Right. Yeah. Okay, you're on Twitter. People give you shit on Twitter. That's what Twitter is.
Yeah.
People will give you shit. If you're looking for a fight, you will find it. You will find it immediately and frequently if you're looking for it.
Well, there's another part of that, too. The other part of that is that, and people have said this to me, which I think I was thinking about, and they said, look, if you want to argue about how much I hate new atheism and how much I hate people who are mean to Muslims, I could write a blog or something like that.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to do that. But I have been able to refine what it is that I believe.
Yeah.
And I've been able to say it more succinctly. And I think previously to this, I'm not saying I should get into arguments, but I'm also finding a lot of people who are starting to get upset at Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins.
Right.
And the other part of it is, I think people could be rounded up and genocide could happen in this country. So I'm upset about it for that reason. Now you, the naysayers, you may say, well, you're not helping by getting angry about it. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have a plan, and obviously I get in trouble a lot. So I don't know what the solution is. The best solution is I try not to pick up the device.
Yeah.
I want you to know now, just as this happened on many of the previous podcasts, where I have gotten my feelings hurt, right?
Yeah.
My feelings are hurt.
I know.
And now
but I don't feel like it's my fault.
It's
though.
not your fault.
Okay, so.
Have I given you the idea that it is your fault?
A little bit. When your feelings are hurt and I'm the only one talking to you.
No, in the moment, right? When I'm arguing with you?
Yeah.
But I think I told you afterwards that I'm glad it happened.
Okay.
And the other thing I'm going to say was my feelings aren't hurt now.
That's good.
So
I felt like you were coming back.
I went through. So the thing is, if you obviously, I'm trying to build a robot that does agree with me with everything.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Very good, sir. But
that will be a different podcast.
I don't want you. I'm encouraging you to tell me what you think.
I saw you like double defending your Florida joke on Twitter.
Yeah. Now here's what happened. Okay. So first of all, when I'm watching, nobody objected. I didn't get any weather persons objecting to my. One of these days they're going to get hit by a flying house.
Right. Did people object to that joke?
No, nobody did.
Okay, yeah,
right.
It's not very objectionable.
Well, here's how that joke would be objectionable. If
you said, I hope one of these guys gets hit by a flying house, that's a different joke.
That's another joke. Or if you tweeted it right after someone got killed by a flying house.
Right, that would be inappropriate.
If you said, you know what, that's something I always was hoping would happen.
Right.
So here's my argument about why people are wrong about this, about criticizing my joke. And one guy said to me...
Oh, are you going to tell the joke?
Yeah, the joke is... what is the joke? Why don't you read it?
I'll look it up.
You give a read.
I'll give it a look up. I'm not proud of this, but I admit that when it comes to large sections of Florida, I've been rooting for the storm.
Right. Okay. Now, I will tell you why. You may not think that's a funny joke. I don't even care. Of course, I do care because all of my self-worth is based on what you think about me.
Okay, then you may or may not like this.
Okay. My point is that when these I'm very careful about tragedies. I'm not as funny as like Jeselnik. Someone like Jeselnik can really nail something when, I don't go for that kind of joke.
Right.
This was a joke that is about me admitting to having a thought that's not a great thought.
Yeah.
So it's really a joke that reveals what we've all thought about, but it's not a joke where I'm wishing people got hurt by the storm, nor is the storm currently having millions of people get killed.
Okay, so first of all, it is a joke where you're wishing people get hurt in the storm because you're admitting to wishing that people get hurt in the storm.
No, you're admitting to having that thought.
Right.
That's not the same thing.
That thought is a wish that people get hurt in the storm.
But that's, you don't really wish that people are going to get hurt.
No, I understand that.
Right. That's why it's a joke.
Right.
Because you're saying, I hate to admit it, but this has crossed my mind.
But I hope these people die.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Look, if Rush Limbaugh...
Not die, but get wiped out.
If Rush Limbaugh got swallowed by a storm tomorrow,
right,
I wouldn't cry.
Right.
So if I wished that he got swallowed by a storm, how horrible is that? Why is that bad? Why is it bad? I'm assuming you're going to argue against the joke.
I'm not going to really argue against the joke. I'm going to argue against your indignance about people's reaction to the joke. That's
okay.
Because I don't understand why you're... first of all, here's the thing. You say, like, Jeselnik does it best, is what you say, that kind of thing best.
Well, I'm saying that some people try to do things like that. I don't try to do those kind of jokes.
On a comedic level, here's my problem, is that it's like a double-hedged joke. It's like your real thought is fuck Florida. That's the comedic thought. So then you go, then you added, I'm not proud of this to admit. So you're softening the joke there, and then you soften it more with large parts of Florida. So now it's like that it's an offensive joke, but you've softened it.
What's offensive about it?
It's offensive because people are going through a shitstorm, and you're being the opposite of supportive to them.
But that's not what Twitter's about. Twitter's not about where I'm supposed to be manning the Twitter handle.
No, you can
and
do
going
it.
And every other tweet's going to be, give to this organization, give that. It's nothing. What I'm saying is the reason why I was indignant. It's none of the goddamn. I don't need someone telling me, I know you're trying to be funny, but no. I don't need that reaction.
What the fuck would you tweet that fucking kind of joke out on Twitter when you know what Twitter is?
I did not know.
Honest
at all.
to God, you had no idea. Then you're an idiot.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you because I think that don't you sometimes tweet things that go up to you go, look, I want to say something terrible about Trump.
Right.
I don't want to go over the line.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I was doing. This storm there's no Katrina angle to it. There are people dying every minute everywhere. There's nothing. When I tweeted that joke, it was not in the face of a tragedy. It was a 4-day event that was going along that I would have had to have waited 5 more days. I'm just saying.
No, it was in the midst of the actual day.
Nothing was going on.
It was hit. There was a
Doesn't
hurricane.
Matter. They knew that it wasn't going to be a 20-foot surge. It's still no 20 feet surge.
Right, but if I'm in Florida and I read that tweet, my first reaction is, yeah, fuck you.
Why do you have to be reading the tweet if you're in Florida? You really think if you're in the middle of a thing, you're going to go on Twitter and go, oh, this guy's jerk? I don't think I would ever in 1 second in my life care that someone was making a joke about Florida. Especially since a lot of people...
Right, but they cared enough to just make a tweet, which is about how much you cared. But you
I do. I find it very offensive when people... think that I just think something very offensive about people thinking that they know you or that it's appropriate to go, yeah, I know what you were trying to do, but no.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous because it's Twitter, you can't control how people consume what you put out there.
I can control how I react to it.
You can, absolutely.
Right. So I think it's
but
shitty.
To be surprised by it is
I'm not
ridiculous.
surprised by it. I just think it's shitty. I think it's shitty. People go, you have to actually be thinking, you have to actually be assuming that you think I want people to get hurt. You have to actually even go past it. No one's gotten hurt, but you have to actually imagine it. Are you really saying, Andy, that that you wish that these people would be crushed by a house? That's why I think I did something. Would you say where I was taking off of the joke? I think I was doing fine with the joke. I was, yes, I was not trying to make the joke like I couldn't care less if these people die, but it was a joke about a thought that came to my head that people think about. And it wasn't when a tragedy happened, like 1,000 people died that hour. So that's how I defend it. Okay. And I won't,
I don't know. You got to do a position where you're literally yelling at people. It's not offensive. It's funny on Twitter.
Because, okay, well, that's another thing. Putting aside the fact that what you should do on Twitter, what you shouldn't do on Twitter, which I know is a whole thing. I've tried to decide what do I expect? What am I getting out of me responding to somebody? Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, when that guy said you're a real piece of shit, it did make me happy to say you're a verified jerk. Okay. It made me happy. And so if you say, what did I get out of it? I got out of it that feeling in that moment that I wanted to say something back to him.
Right.
But because I'm so scared, there's a part of me that's like, don't say anything because they'll come find you and kill you. And that's, I think, is another thing of way to live your life where you're so worried all the time. Sometimes I just feel like, fuck it. This guy is fuck you is what I feel like saying. That's all I feel like saying about it. I would never go up against a comic, especially a comic I respected. These are people who are following me, and then all of a sudden just turn on a dime, like, okay, Andy, no.
Yeah. Yes. That's how Twitter is.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it totally
is. Do you think that on Twitter...
Well, there's no bond when someone follows you. It's not like you've.
But that's not true. I know a lot of people you know a lot of people on Twitter who are following you. You know a lot of people who are.
Yeah.
So you're friends with them. No, you're friends with them. So sometimes if you're friends with, sometimes if someone's like, because that's when it really gets really bad, is if it's a comic or something like that, I get into an argument, then you really do care because it's somebody you know.
Sure.
But I don't necessarily buy that Twitter's like a just a thing that you shouldn't. It's part of life. I mean, whether it
Well,
bothers
it's
you or
fine,
not.
but if you're broadcasting a joke with some sort of edge to it, can we agree that the joke had an edge to it because it was about Florida
but
during
the joke
a
is
hurricane?
not offensive.
Okay, that's not. I mean, that's your opinion. You can't say that it's not offensive if people were offended.
People said Colbert was offensive about the Chinese things.
Right,
But the point is that Colbert has a track record.
Right, but
So if someone has a
but
track record,
but I don't see what you're. I mean, I don't buy the quality of this joke.
I'm not saying it's a great joke.
Right.
I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with it. It's not wrong because it's raining in Florida that I did that joke. It would be wrong if 4,000 people died.
And don't get me wrong, I don't have any moral issue with this joke. But I see that if you're broadcasting this joke to 100,000 people,
Oh yeah.
that a certain percentage, and in this case a pretty fucking low percentage of that number,
I
took
was
exception to it.
surprised at it because to me it's like why? To me, I don't see the difference between that and the Weatherman. It's the same joke to me. You're watching the Weatherman.
I disagree.
Well, I'll tell you why I think it's the same joke, and
Okay.
you can then say no. It's a joke about something, a thought that you're thinking. I wish a house would come and kill this guy because I'm sick of watching 500 hours of this rain coverage. So you're not really wishing that the guy was
But
dead.
that wasn't your joke. Your joke is one of these days that's going to happen, and this is all
that's
going to come to
expressing
an
my
end.
own hostility.
Right, but that's not. I mean, that's just as much expressing your concern. Like I can't believe these people, someone's going to get hurt out there.
No, that's not what I was thinking. I was
Well,
thinking
but that's what
I thought it was annoying. It's
It
just so
didn't.
annoying.
It didn't come off as purely hostile. It came off as this is foolish.
Well, this didn't go well. I thought this would go better, but this didn't go. It was one of our. I thought this would be up there with our classic fights.
Ooh,
That was great.
that got tense.
Oh, I'm nervous. I still feel bad about myself.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
It's all.
It's all good, right? It's grist for
I
the
think
mill.
we made up by the end of each of those episodes.
Right.
So everything.
I
was
didn't
fine.
like the tongue kissing that followed.
Why every time?
Every
Andy?
time with the homophobic observations. Wow.
Well,
Now you want a
there
shorter
you go.
one, right?
You just ended our best of show. With
Oh, that's
that.
that's a sour note.
It's a sour note.
With me being homophobic.
I was going to go out on a montage of endings.
Ooh.
But that just
don't.
They're
Just
easy to find. Is I guess my point. if you want to hear the endings, go to the end of each previous
Oh,
show.
you ditched that.
I ditched it. I went with one choice.
I know what it is too, right?
I probably
Walking to the.
no.
I thought it'd be where you follow me out to the
No,
door.
it's the Andy Kindler Christmas Carol.
Who is the person that you're trying to please? It's the person who lives inside. Once you face your problems, you will take some sigh. And I said, I'm the person I'm the one I want.